And you. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
You can hear both of us. I hope this time you guys can hear both of us. I'm gonna just lower the music by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Nice. Professional streamer. Oh man. We've been waiting in the background for so long.
Yeah, we've been here for hours.
Well,
Just sitting
yeah.
alone, not talking, hours, just waiting to talk about
Yeah.
Guild Wars 2 and all the
Yes.
crazy stuff.
What should we even start with? Actually, I actually am still clueless because I'm so spontaneous in these kind of topics that I just don't really prepare anything. Just we start off with something and I just go with it. I don't care, honestly.
Well, we could potentially, it's been, oh god, has it been about a month since the expansion came out? We could start
Yeah,
with story stuff right off the bat. So if that way people want to just like skip to a later time, they
yeah.
could skip the beginning and all the story spoilers if they haven't played it yet.
Actually, not even skip. I'm gonna just say it's spoilers and find it out yourself where there are no spoilers later. Because I'm not gonna review this video because I hate my voice. So good luck with that. If you're watching this on YouTube, because I'm gonna upload this shit. But yeah, I actually okay. I'm gonna just start with it. The story and everything regarding the story is kind of like 8 out of 10 for me a little bit. So it's absolutely not bad at all. I actually very much liked it, but there are like minor critiques that I could say honestly about it.
That's pretty much exactly how I feel. I was rating different things whenever the expansion came out. I think the expansion overall is probably like an 8 out of 10 for me, but the story, I would probably say that that's about an 8 out of 10 also. There are, I think the plot overall is really fun. The very first mission where you're jumping across the ships, I hated that. I thought it was terrible. I hate Anka's voice actor. Well, so I shouldn't say that because that's actually kind of mean. I I don't hate Anka's voice actor. I don't think that the voice fits with the character, and it's a little bit off-putting to me. That's the right way to say that. And so that kind of bugged me throughout the story until, of course, Anka obviously died later on. But after that, it was a little bit more enjoyable. But there were things about some of the instances. I got stuck in June's mansion several times because I played Thief through the whole story.
Oh yeah.
And I would shadow step or blink through different places that I guess I wasn't supposed to do. So I locked myself in rooms that I couldn't get out of, and I just had to restart a lot, and that was really annoying.
Oh wait, shadow steps work through the barrier things that spawn in on the rooms and stuff.
I think so. I don't remember exactly how I was doing it, but I got stuck in. There's that room kind of in the back of the mansion that has
Yeah.
cannons that shoots you that you can break. I got stuck in there once because I didn't have power cores to put in to the wall, and I got stuck in the kid's bedroom upstairs. So that was kind of a. And then in the fight at the very end of it, I fell through the floor because I think I shadow stepped up
Yeah.
onto a box, and that was really bad.
I almost fell once when it was doing the up down thing, leveling with things, and it just spawn because it spawns them below and then just push them up. But it kind of like creates a hole where you can almost fall down. Because I actually almost fall down one where the jade bot spawned, and I was like, whoa! I had to be very careful to watch my step.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I was able to get out somehow, but I just got stuck underneath one, and it was just kind of stuff like it's just overall it's just things like that that maybe you could even consider minor problems. It's nothing crazy, but it was enough of an unenjoyable experience that things like that make me want to kind of take off points here and there. And I thought the way that they introduced the special action key in the first instance was really. I watched some other people play it and they didn't understand what was happening.
Oh, when you had to jump around the ships, that. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
they didn't understand that it was ground targeted. They didn't see the keybind because I think the keybind is just a slash button by default, or they hadn't played in years and the
Yeah.
special action key didn't exist. I thought that was kind of a problem too. But overall, I really thought it was good. The strike missions, going back and playing that's really enjoyable to be able to play through the bosses again.
Yeah.
There were, things that they added in that were kind of dark and kind of interesting. Like Ivan the Dredge had some really hot political takes that personally I really enjoyed hearing because I kind of think the same way. And
I
that
actually
was
love Ivan. I think he's so well acted out. I just loved his character in it.
Yeah, I think Ivan was probably my favorite character in the whole story. And I think they did a good job with my trend too.
Yeah.
The Oreen and the dragons, like, it's just whatever. It's like I think they're okay. I think they do what they need to do, but I like the kind of some of the little characters that they added in. And personally, I'm a Timey hater, and I
Oh, I
was
know.
really some of the stuff that they did with Timey, where Timey and June made friends at the beginning of it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, here's this thing," and they got really excited and kind of acted like little kids. That was really cool because I think it gave them personality. And then Timey kind of betrayed June towards the end of it with the mansion instance, and I thought stuff like that was really cool. And Timey was also absent from the story a little bit, so that
Yeah.
made me happy too, because I think Timey's the worst character. Well, Bram might be, but people like Bram because he's cute now. So I don't know.
Because of the beard.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I actually wasn't expecting the bird though. The beard though. Actually,
Yeah,
like to me, actually the Jews mentioned the puzzle. Just the puzzle part took me 40 minutes to solve. I kept like the very last where you had to place the three battery. That completely like I had two. And oh no, I had three, but you needed like one more for the actual door or something. And that was completely confused. Like, oh, where's the last one? Like, what am I doing wrong? And I've seen so many people struggle on that, honestly, because it's not really clear on a few mechanics. Like the NPCs say, and like even you know the turret that has to shoot the shield, which you have to aim by just standing near or on the shield, and it's like Timey tells you what you have to do, but it's just so quick that you just forget about it. Like, okay, what do I have to do with these? And just like, oh, I have to aim it at it. Okay.
yeah, that was. I think June's Mansion took me over 2 hours to do because I had to reset it, and then I just finally, I guess, after I reset it enough and decided to stop trying to be creative with Thief, it worked out. But it was, I don't know, it was okay overall. I don't think it was terrible,
Did you
but
find the secret room?
yeah, I went through the door without, uh, unlocking it.
Oh,
I I just lagged my way through it, and so it was kind of that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. That was very surprising interaction because June seemed like the kind of person that would just be completely alone. But then
yeah,
there's that big surprise, and it's just like, wait, what?
yeah. I actually was kind of worried because of her wall, this techie nerd kind of vibe that she gave me. From the beginning, and then like she had a son, right? I think, and the husband, and I was like, wait, she has a family actually. Like, okay.
Yeah, that was
because there was
That
like
was
no mention of them either. At least I actually did not remember.
Yeah, I don't think June ever talks about them at all through the whole story. I think it's just meant to be a big surprise, probably. And also, it's something that you don't have to get to because
Yeah,
it's just kind of optional. Because, like me, I was like, oh, okay, I'll just, put the things in. I was ready to just be done with the instance. So my thought wasn't to go through it, but then I saw that there was a wall that you could go through. And so I went through it, but literally. So that was, yeah, it was kind of cool. I think doing little things like that and just adding extra depth to characters that you can just go find on your own. Another thing that comes to mind is in the living story where you're fighting the White Mantle and you're in Cauticus Manor and you're just kind of
yeah.
exploring through that mesmer that's making clones of Lord Farron in one of the bedrooms.
Oh,
That was
yeah, I remember.
just little stuff like that kind of, it's stuff that you just find on accident, but I really
Yeah,
enjoy when they add things like
I
that. I
actually
think it's
love
really
those
cool.
things. They're just these very small, like not even details, just this kind of sometimes fun, sometimes a little bit grim. Because okay, for example, again, for everyone, these are spoilers, but from when you start out and you get to the prison part, and Gorik has a diary, and when I opened it, it just starts with like he is talking still with Bluish, and I'm like, holy shit! Like he haven't talked with Bluish since the things happened with Bluish, and I'm like, did he not accept to this day that he's just like technically no more? I mean, you could still kind of like I don't know. Can we still somehow? I have no clue if like Bleach is still like savable from like where is he actually anymore? Like I don't know. So I
As
don't know.
far as I remember, he got put into the golem body,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he was talking about how he was the first time that you meet him, I think.
He
um
gets shut down a little bit.
yeah, and it's like he was conscious the whole time,
Yeah,
but he's just in this like infinite void of darkness. And so the way that he, I guess, died, as you might say, is that he just shut himself
yeah,
off, and so his mind is still
yep,
maybe active, but he's just trapped in like a dark room forever and he can't get out of it.
yeah. That's kind of still horrid a little bit for me, honestly. It's kind of grim. But
Yeah.
it's not that I don't like it that it's grim, but it's kind of nice in a weird way to say that it's grim because it's not like happy everything all the time.
Yeah, that's one of my big criticisms just overall of Guild Wars 2 is how the characters always know the answer and the trouble that they get into is really minimal, and it's never like it's just like, oh oops, Bram did something stupid and Timey has the answer, and then
Yeah,
that's the whole story for like years. It's there's a the commander has a problem, Timey has the answer to the problem, Bram goes off and does something stupid, Timey and the commander save everyone, and then there's a dragon at the end of it, and you just wait for 3 months for the next thing, and it's exactly the same story arc again. And that's been, except they go and like they're in an inquest base, or there's Char on an island, or there's the owl spirit somewhere. It's all exactly the same thing for the most part.
yeah,
They just go to a different location, and so anytime that they add something that's a little bit darker, I really like that. The raids and the raid stories I thought were really good, but then there's the problem that that's behind raids, and
yeah,
not everyone's going to do that. How they kidnap people and sacrifice them, and then the people's spirits get bound because they're very angry and all this stuff.
It's also a little bit bad for. Actually, it was a bit mixed feelings for me in raids because even when I got into raids, it's a little bit sucky on that part that you are doing a content that you are takes time, and people want to get through, so you can't, just wander around all the time like, oh, is there like a hidden letter somewhere away from the boss or something, you because everyone is like, okay, we killed the boss, move on, next boss, okay, and you can't just walk around because even if you make the part, I mean, you could make like a, very beginner or like for story raid, but then who the hell will join that, honestly? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the way that they're doing it now, that the strike missions are just integrated straight into the story, they're because it's just a harder version of the story fight.
Yep.
And it's cool that the story fights actually have mechanics now. I think
Yeah.
that's really awesome. And then
I
they just get harder.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised that they actually had mechanics in it. And I was like, wait, I actually have to do something in there? Like,
Yeah, and I think the way that the mechanics are done in those fights too is really cool because some of the other ones that come to mind, the other story fights, like whenever you're doing the whole Shining Blade quest or the Lazarus fight, it's just random stuff. Like on Lazarus, you just run and you pick up balls on the
yeah.
ground and you like throw them at him. And the Shining Blade one, you go and attack that spirit that's like the dark version of yourself so you can, be pure of heart or whatever. And then there are just random puzzles that you can solve or you just fight a bunch of normal mobs all at the same time. Stuff like that is, I think it's really boring and unnecessarily frustrating. The Caudicus fight also, people had problems with that, but you could just very easily cheese it with lifesteal thief with pistols
I mean,
with an and it's nice when you have fights that you can't just cheese with certain builds, but I think whenever they have really obvious telegraphs, like you have the green circles that you have to go
yeah.
onto and like you don't go stuff like that, I think is the right way to do it.
The Kodakus fight is kind of ironic that you mentioned because you actually had to carry me because I couldn't do it on my mesmer.
Oh, did I really?
Yeah, you brought your thief for me and then just basically soloed the whole boss for me.
Oh god.
Because it
I
was
don't
because it was still the prefix part when it was still extremely broken, before they actually fixed the boss, like not nerfed, but they actually fixed some mechanic on it, and then you just carried because it was like day one, and then I just asked around, and you said you can carry me around. Yeah, and you did so very easily actually.
I did I did it for myself, I think on the first try because when I see stuff like that, and this was the same thing for Canuck back in South Sun Cove and Liadri, whenever Liadri first came out, I see stuff like that, and they're immune to damage. I'm just like, oh, okay. You can just kill them with lifesteal because they probably don't have a high HP pool. Or Caudicus, he just like kills you if you go into melee range, so I'll just range him with Thief and I'll play a trait that lets me never die and stuff like that. That's immediate. I just immediately go to like, how do I exploit this fight, basically?
Wait, can you
And
bypass those things with like lifesteal sometimes?
you used to be able to, but
uh
they fixed it, and
uh
so at the start of it, you could do it really easily. You could just play in Jademon Fractals used to be able to do that too. That was a big thing because you could skip the whole Jademon fight. You could take a thief and put down smokescreen and you could just shoot pistol through it for leeching bolts, and it would just hit Jade Maw and drain all of its health, and Jade Maw would just instantly die.
oh my god.
And so, whenever you were doing, oh gosh, this goes back so far, I can't even believe I remember this stuff. Whenever you used to be able to exploit higher than fractal level 50, this was a long time ago. You could go all the way up to 80, but fractals were soft capped at 50, and people didn't really know it, but they were hard capped at 80. And so the Jade Maw fight was really crazy because of all the mobs. And so if you just went in it, you could just do it that way. You could just life steal it to death really, really fast. And so there were just things like that we found. And I mean, whenever I go into a game, I always think, how can I break this? That's the first thing that I think about. And it's really cool to me that there are fights that, oh, okay, this is just the mechanic and this is how the fights work. This is really nice that I don't have to, that I'm not trying to be clever and creative and break everything. It's just like, this is the fight, this is how it works. Okay, cool, nice, let's do it.
Yeah, it's I kind of like to do the same sometimes if I have my head around it. But not necessarily, like exploits, but more like, can I be a little bit more creative?
Yeah. And then the last bit of the EoD story where you're doing basically the Harvest Temple and like
Yeah. Oh,
jumping over
I
waterfalls.
love that so much.
Yeah, I still played. I knew that I could do that really easily with Thief, with Staff, and Invigorating Precision, or Daredevil, I guess specifically. And I just kind of did all of the mechanics really easily on the first try. There's an achievement for doing it under a certain time. And I just got that on the first time because
Oh,
Thief is just really broken when it comes to melee cleave damage and healing through stuff, even with the nerf to Invigorating Precision. And so I just kind of blew through the fight, but it was still fun because even though I was just blowing through it, you had to do all the mechanics. Like you had to do the orbs, you had to deal with mobs and stuff, and it was still enjoyable to do the fight. I guess
yeah.
how you would say, like, the right way. Was just a lot easier because I always, like, whenever I go into a story, like, I always do it on Thief or Necromancer because it's just free if you do it on
Yeah.
those.
I know the feel, especially on Scourge. Like, I never die. I actually like well, not last story instance because it's not the last one, but basically the last fight. But I actually liked it that I, how to say, I liked that balance that you actually did become powerful and felt powerful, but you were still, uh, in a way, like you could die still, So it wasn't just a leeway that you can, oh, I'm powerful enough, yeah, you still had the risk to die, regardless of being powered up.
Yeah, I like that too, and because you still felt mortal, well, kind of like you
Yeah,
said, like you could still die. You're just like a super powered human, and I think that was probably the right way to do it. I also thought it was cool that you basically get to use the new legendary weapons for that fight,
it did
which
not work
was,
for me actually, never.
oh, that's terrible.
On no
What?
weapons did it work for me, and I don't know why.
Oh,
And I actually did the story mission 3 times by now, and to this day, it just doesn't work for me.
that's not fun. It's the new legendaries are another thing. I think those are really cool. I think they did a really good job on those, and I mean, maybe I get them at some point. I really like the Zaitan ones just because, a raw early in the game was something that I really enjoyed doing and spent a lot of time in. But the other thing with those is that I feel like there's not really any armor sets or anything that they match in the game
Yeah,
specifically.
it's kind of yeah.
But I guess, yeah, overall, just the story from the start to the finish, other than the very first instance, I really thought everything was well done and it was just really enjoyable. And then the very last one where you get called by Marjorie and Casimir to go into that bar that
Yeah.
you hadn't seen that since I think
Yo, it's
season
so long.
one.
Yeah, it's no, actually, I think there is like one more instance where you have to go there for some reason, but but it's like season 2 or 3 or something like that. Like, uh, it's really long ago. I actually still, it's kind of funny, but I still go there sometimes just to chill because there are NPCs inside. I think, at least.
Oh, okay. Are they just like regular NPCs that are kind of around Divinity's Reach?
Yeah, if it's basically always instance, but if you just go in without having a story, but having it discovered, after doing that story part from the past, you have it open, you can just walk in and you just load in, and you have like a bartender or something in there, and like two more NPCs just randomly standing around. So it's a bit chill,
Okay.
at,
Yeah,
at least for me.
yeah, it's sometimes I'll go into stuff like that too. Like I'll go into especially if I want to do screenshots or something, I'll jump over the walls into the home instance or something in Divinity's Reach, or just go in the regular instance. It just depends. And stuff like that is really fun to do. Especially, I really like Divinity's Reach just overall. I think it's my favorite city and probably just one of my favorite places in the whole game. And so it was really cool. I think I forgot about it until I either saw it on Reddit because it took me a little while to finish the story. I think it took me 14 hours to finish the story, and there were people that did it in like 7 or 8 hours. And so I saw that before I finished it, and I was really excited to go back. And then, you're in there talking, and then more characters show up and everything. It was really cool. I really just enjoyed like that whole instance specifically. It felt very satisfying to in the story after you do the whole Suwon fight, and
Yeah,
then you meet up with your friends and you just kind of like it's like a debriefing. You just kind of like talk everything over, and
yeah.
then you're on to new things.
I suddenly forgot what I wanted to say. Actually, anyway, something else that I wanted to mention about the story. There is a little bit of a thing that I both like that they did with the EoD story, but it is also something that very much confuses a lot of people. The this typical optional kind of things that you can find on yourself if you care about the story, but like I like it because I'm the type of person who really loves to look for these kind of optional or maybe a little bit hidden things. When you are in a, a story instance, and I always love to explore it because hey, maybe there is like a book or like a note or something that says something very interesting to the story. And a couple of my friends who did the story, that there are those parts where you have to listen to those audio boxes with the Anka stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And there are actually way more than what it tells you, because in the first instance in Saitung province, it just tells you to listen to at least four, and then you are done. You don't have to listen to the rest if you don't want to, so it doesn't force you. But many people get confused about Ankas, like wall. I don't know how to say, or what is the word, like what she wants, or how she thinks, because if you only listen to just like four and then skip the other two, and then you skip the other more two in the next story instances, you get kind of confused, because all you get is like that she just like wants one thing and that's it, like it's not interesting. But if you take the time to listen to those as well and find them, you actually get to piece together some pieces. So it's a bit fun for me, but many of my friends just didn't bother or try to find it, so they were like, yeah, so what does she want? You know, that was the question. And I'm like, well, if you listen to these, you actually find out.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. And I do this in all of the video games that I like pretty much. In Fallout and in Skyrim. Like what I'll do in those games is I'll go explore every little piece of every little dungeon and find everything. Or like if there's a building you go into, I'll go find like all the hidden loot and I'll just look around. And then usually what I end up doing after that is I'll talk to all of the NPCs and then I'll just kill them all and take all their stuff. But you can't really do that in Guild Wars 2 so
Yeah,
much. But um, yeah, it was, and there's a lot of stuff in there. The Aether Blades are just fucking based. Like holy shit! You hear Anka's basically like yeah, I hate my Trin because she's weak. Because when we would go to the mists, I would kill my like the other version of myself over and over and over, and now I just feel dead inside and I have no feelings. And my Trin would never do that. My Trin is weak, and I'm going to overthrow my Trin. In Anka, you can hear Anka's mental state
Yeah,
and
actually, that's
personality.
very nice, honestly, to me.
Yeah, you just you hear the whole thing deteriorate the more
Yeah,
that you go through. And my Trin has this opposite thing where she has like this whole redemption arc through the whole story. So you have two people that started out, they're both just like pirates, and one of them gets away way more evil, and then the other one is like, well, I've, you know, spent time around good people and I've tried to do things that are productive and helpful, and I want to redeem myself because I like killed everybody in Lion's Arch because I blew it up. And then there are other voice logs where Ivan is talking about how he's talking with that oh my gosh, I can't remember the Char's name.
the Rainiac or what, or Reniac or
Yeah,
what his name
yeah,
is. Yeah,
I think that's it. And Rainiac is like, I don't want people to take my stuff. And like he told Ivan, he's like, you're just a crazy communist. And Ivan's like, oh no, you don't understand. I think that people that hoard wealth are the problem, and I think that everybody should be taken care of. And then Rainiac is just like, don't take my stuff.
yeah,
And it's a little bit more, that's just kind of, I guess, a simplified version of the conversation. And then Horik has the whole like anarchist take, like no gods, no masters, and that's a phrase that
yeah,
personally I really love because I guess I kind of feel that way too. And another thing about stuff like that is overall, if you have a whole group of people that do sketchy things and they all think that way, it gets problematic. Which, like the Aether Blades as a whole, right? They
yeah,
kind of became like a problem because you have a bunch of people that, you know, have ideas and then they just kind of hype it all up and talk to themselves and get more extreme. But then you have some people that just give you like honest take. I think it was really cool to have some interesting political depth, but in a way that's not mainstream.
yeah.
It's like more ideologies rather than events that are happening in the real world. I enjoyed that they did it that way specifically, where they talk about ideas instead of just like what people are doing. And so I really enjoyed that level of it too. I think they just handled that really well. I think they, you know, give people something to think about in a very interesting way through video game characters. And like you see Ivan later on, Ivan is made out to be this crazy bad guy, but he's just very honest and loyal to Mitrin. And then later on he ends up taking care of the cats and kind of joining your crew, and you're like, oh, this guy's he's a nice guy, he's a big softy.
Yeah, I like that.
And I think they just really did a good job on all of that stuff. And in the past, I've enjoyed, you know, playing through story instances for the most part, but I've just thought the story was very soft and to a degree poorly written. It felt like there were no stakes, there were no hot takes in any of it, and it was just kind of like it was more like watching an episode of The Simpsons or something where there's like some drama arc, but then it ends and everything goes back to exactly how it
Yeah,
was. And so it's it's interesting to see that there was I it's just oh I just it was so good. I could talk about this forever, but
for me the story was honestly the only critique that, well, not the only in a way, but my main critique is that it felt so fast paced. Like it's everything happens so, like I understand why, because it's one expansion. Obviously, you will go story by story steps, but it just felt so fast in a way that there was like, you know, like suddenly like my train's redemption arc, you know, and it just suddenly ends, and then Anka ends, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like it was both chaotic a little bit, but it also felt a little bit fast for me. Like it was good, but it was fast in my opinion, a little bit.
yeah, I could definitely see that. The pacing personally, I thought the stuff with my Trin happened a little bit too quickly, and objectively, the stuff with Anka probably did too. But I was just so happy for Anka to be out of the story that I just didn't really care. I was really ready for that character to not be in the story anymore. And then afterwards, where you're not dealing with the Aether Blades and you're just dealing with the rest of the Cantha drama and the dragons and stuff, I thought all of that was. But yeah, I think overall you're probably right. I think some of it probably did happen really quickly. And another thing that I enjoyed about it, about the pacing, is they didn't make you do as much just random stuff as they have in the past.
Uh,
I remember Lake Doric and oh god, what was that island with the like Ring of Fire Island or whatever it was called? Um, they those stories they made you run around and do like every single heart quest
yeah,
start to
oh yeah,
finish,
I hate those.
and it was so boring and so there was so much filler because really there was maybe 30 minutes of story content, but there was like 2 hours of just running around doing bullshit on the map that was just not fun.
Yeah, I actually didn't mind the very early on where you had to do the training ground, that part, because in a way I can understand that it kind of works for some newer people probably, to teach like the the defiance bar and dodging, because you for progressing the story you had to do that hard and then try each, because I'm actually so glad that they limited how much participation you get for the heart from doing like the break bar thing, so you couldn't just spam one to get down with it, because it just told you that you can't do this again. You had to do it like 5 times, and then the game just said, sorry, you can't do this more for the heart.
Yeah, it's. I think they handled that stuff pretty okay. I think they did it in such a way that, like the kind of tutorials on how to. I would call it new player tutorials, but honestly, there are so many people that play the game already that have
Yeah.
no idea how defiance bars work. And so I think it was good that they put that in. And I think the way that they introduced it, like, oh, yeah, let's make sure that your brain isn't damaged because you blew up on a pirate ship. And I thought that was a pretty clever way to force people into doing just basic tutorials for stuff like that. And they actually they put stuff like that in the game. You have to do it. Like there are things that you have to CC. There are things like Suwon where in Dragon's End, if you don't CC Suwon, like good luck,
Yep.
your damage is way lower.
And will be even lower soon.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole thing too. A lot of
Yeah.
people are mad about that, but I don't know. I
uh,
don't think that's a bad change.
yeah, I mean, honestly, there is one thing that kind of hit me a little bit, because recently, Lost Ark, I guess you two heard about the game.
Yeah,
And Lost Ark currently on the West, since it just only launched like what, like a month ago or two or something, I don't remember anymore, but it has similar problems right now that you have with like the very casual Guild Wars 2 players, that they just like, because people started to notice that since okay, I don't want to like talk about random stuff. So the the thing people notice is that you can go for like 100 hours in Lost Ark without actually thinking about anything. You can just literally just face roll your keyboard, kill things, and done. You are like superhero, And then suddenly you hit a wall where you actually have to learn mechanics and then do stagger or whatever it's called. Like, so basically kind of CC stuff, or like do specific skills for it, and like think about your teammates, actually do damage, and like, there are these many things like gear check, like the CC and everything. And then people are now noticing that there are so many brain dead people playing that game, because they just go, of course it's kind of blamed on the system too, because of the matchmaking, just allows everyone to join any group or raid or whatever they have in that game. I actually didn't play just like 10 hours in that game. Uh, and they are just I just constantly read, well, not all the time, but daily once at least I read the Lost Ark subreddit, and there are people just ranting that there are so many stupid people in that game that just don't read shit and look up nothing about the game. And but there are good points on both sides, that it's both on the fault of the game as well, because there is a lot of things it just does not teach you at all, because it just gives you this leeway thing in the game first, that you can just do anything by just smashing your auto attack or like three skills, and then just get down with it, and then you suddenly hit that wall. And but the other hand, I can understand people too, that many people just don't bother looking up anything or learning anything. And Guild Wars 2 also has this problem with like sometimes dodging or like seeing or I don't know, understanding mechanics, or just the break bar, obviously, a lot of times.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing too, and I think something that specifically plays into that with Guild Wars 2 is that you have this idea of casuals and elitists, and neither of those things are particularly well defined by
Yep.
anyone. Everyone has a different opinion. And then you have stuff like, oh, this is the meta. And people hear that and they don't want to do that because Guild Wars 2 lets you play. You can play any build that you want, with any gear that you want, with any weapon that you want. And some of it is going to be absolutely terrible, but a lot of the content, probably 90% of the content in the game, you can still go do it with literally. There are people that don't even have gear or have like their level 80 with 450 mastery points, and they still have like level 27 gear on. Like there are people out there that have access to weird stuff, and like every now and then I'll see a screenshot of it and it's just like, what the fuck is happening? And so there's not really any pressure on people for most of the game, and also people hear something like meta and they immediately get kind of upset because they're like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to play the meta.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to play the same build that everyone else plays. I want to play my own build because it's my character and I want to have my own theme. I saw something on I think Nike posted on Twitter. There was somebody writing on Reddit that they wanted to play Virtuoso, and they only wanted to play virtuoso skills because their character that they've had like went from a mesmer and it learned how to do virtuoso stuff. And
So
I
it
mean
was
that
basically
makes,
like role playing at
yeah,
that point.
yeah, and you can play through almost all of the content in the whole game with something like that. And this is another thing, like me, when I played Yu-Gi-Oh, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to play like deck types and archetypes of monsters that were very pure, and I didn't want to add or spend money on all the like meta trap cards and hand traps and all this
Yeah.
stuff that you had to play to be competitive. I was happy to just be a casual player, but at the same time I was happy, like if I was going to enter a tournament and play 6 games, I was happy to lose 4 or 5 of them. I didn't really care. It was just, fun to me to play what I wanted. But there's if you play a game like that, you go into it knowing that you're going to lose because
Yeah.
the meta stuff is just going to destroy you. But Guild Wars 2 has the mindset that you play whatever you want, but you also win everything because the story is more or less just single player content and
Yeah.
nothing is ever a threat. And so whenever people talk about meta and like Dragon's End actually being like a difficult thing and there are mechanics and break bars, it's very it's just very sudden for a lot of people, and then they're hearing new words and playing with new people and being told like this is the best way to do, and they get frustrated. And I understand that.
Yeah.
I completely understand that. And from my perspective, if people want to do that, like I want them to do that. I want them to play as casually or as hardcore as they want to do it and play whatever build they want. But for me, if I go into a raid or a strike mission or to Dragon's End, from my perspective, it's that if I'm the most hardcore player in the group, I should be carrying as hard as possible. And if we lose, I'm part of the reason we're losing because I'm just not good enough as a player. And it makes me want to be better and kind of, I guess, carry harder. And so I think a lot of the hardcore players don't think that way because they're insecure about things going wrong. They think that just because they're playing a meta build, they get a free win, even though they may not know how to play it. And then whenever you wipe on a boss, then they get frustrated and they just blame other people that aren't doing as much DPS, or they blame the healer or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's just a complete. Personally, I think that's just a complete wrong mindset to play. Like, if you want to do 100k DPS and carry the whole group, like, you better be able to step up and do that. And if not, then, like, you better get good. You better learn the game a little bit more. I don't think the responsibility of. I guess I don't think the responsibility of whether or not you fail Dragon's End should be on the people that are just experiencing the game at a, I guess you could say, like a slower pace, or they're playing their
Yeah.
own custom build. I think the responsibility falls on the commanders and the hardcore players to be able to really push the stuff forward. I think everybody should just overall be able to share in the rewards. And that's how, I mean, that's how I feel about it personally. And I kind of wish at the same time more people thought that way. I wish the answer was to just carry harder instead of flame the people that did low DPS. Like, I think that just leads to fighting and it's not good for anybody.
Yeah, I actually don't understand because on the first days, but when I finally got to that map after the story and during the story, I actually didn't understand either. Like, why flame each other? Like that helps nobody. Like, at least explain things to others. Then, like, don't just flame that. Oh, you are so shit at the game. Like, uninstall and like that helps nobody. Like, shut up.
Yeah, I completely agree because my thought on the game, especially in like, I've thought a whole lot more about this because of stuff that's come up recently, where, in my opinion, I think the community should be as inclusive as possible, and people should come to terms with the fact that there are players that do different things than them, and especially there's stuff that's come up that I just didn't even like really think about too much before, like the colorblind mode. I have talked up or met up and talked with some people like Kamina and Bacon Boy, and they have difficulties with stuff that to
Yeah.
me is no problem. Kamina had said that he had never seen green circles on Veil Guardian at all ever until he found out about the colorblind stuff that we kind of dug up together and installed. He's like, wow, this is the first time I've ever seen green circles, and I've been doing it. I've been playing Veil Guardian since Heart of Thorns launched. That's something that I was just like, oh fuck, like I never would have even thought of that. It's just I just see the mechanic and I just do it. And the Accessibility Wars Discord server that has been created fairly recently, I joined that and was just kind of like lurking through that. I like to lurk in servers a lot and just see what people are up to. And someone posted a picture where they're literally missing fingers on one of their hands.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I mean, if that person is, if they're even playing a meta build, they don't have the ability to input as many commands and skills into the game as someone who has a complete hand does. And you don't know who's on the other side of the keyboard, ultimately on the other side of the screen. And guess what? If you just start flaming and you just start getting mad at people that are doing low damage or whatever, like, how do you know that it's not a person that just is physically unable to input things as fast as you can? And it that's just added a whole other layer of kind of frustration to how I've been how I felt about stuff in the past, because in the past I was really, really like Omega hardcore and like, yeah, play DPS builds and all this stuff, and I would get into fights with people about it. And I've grown as a person since then, because it's literally been 10 years.
Yep.
And it's just, I wish people would be more empathetic and would be more helpful. I think that the community overall is really great, but I think there's still a lot of room for improvement in all of this stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, obviously, sometimes I too get a little bit frustrated on a few things where I just, immediate, because the problem is, I think, just in general comes from people that you expect others to be the same as you. So if you have like no any kind of disability, or you can do perfect rotations, you probably expect others to be able to do that as well, because if you can do it, why can they do it, like usually some people say that. Even sometimes I too, I mean, not in the sense that if I can do that you can do so, but I a lot of times I just try to calm down a little bit and just be like, um you know uh even where I worked IRL, I had a lot of, well, assholes because they were, but I was always like, okay, maybe they are just like this because they had like shit day, maybe they have a problem, maybe they are in pain, maybe they have some kind of weird condition. Because actually I had one person before in my in IRL in the past, who was always kind of just grumpy a little bit, and just this, I don't know, like this, not dismissive, but like not really willing to talk with anyone or such. And then it turns out that he had so much pain each day, or like basically permanently, that he just didn't had the mood to actually be bothered with like anyone. And I'm like, oh, okay, that actually explains why he's like that. So you can take that to other people too, like in the game. Like when I get frustrated, like, you can do the EoD strikes as well, and some of them I were very simple, and have like simple mechanics. But then it's like, okay, what if he actually can't see that thing? Like, or maybe what if he actually can't press spacebar so quickly to jump, or like have like weird keybind that maybe helps him, but he can't do it exactly in time, or it's just hard to see. Because let's be honest, even on Harvest Temple, I actually struggle a lot on like Su 1, because the boss models are so big, and I'm always zoomed out so much to see the entire platform, especially as a hair scourge, that I try to see everything. But because I try to see everything, I can't see everything, because the boss model is there and it's always hunched over the screen for me, and I can't see the mechanic. And it's so bothersome sometimes. So you can just imagine for others the struggle.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think, again, a lot of the responsibility for making this whole situation better, if you're a hardcore player, you obviously understand things like movement, you understand things like keybinds, you understand things like doing DPS while going to a different spot in the arena, and like what does DPS and what encounter, bursting, sustain, you understand things like that. And not everyone is able to do this necessarily, but I think if you're able to translate those things into something that is digestible, or you're able to break it up into different pieces, or you're able to make a rotation or a build more accessible to someone, I think realistically it's helpful to do that. And some people will be intimidated to ask for help, but if you just provide the resource, then you're giving a different layer of access to people that may not want to talk about it. I personally have issues that I deal with that are constant, that never go away, and they're very hard. It's a mental thing, not a physical thing, but it's not something that I just want to talk about with everyone. It's not something that I want to just talk about generally. It's something that like I experience a little bit of shame over even, and I would imagine that other people, may be the same way. But and also another like people some people want to learn and they want to go out and dig around and discover stuff. And so, I mean, if that content is not necessarily there or those resources are not there, it makes that situation even more difficult. And like I said, I think people that are really hardcore have some degree of responsibility to provide that information to people that need it or that aren't sure about how to get it, or whatever the case may be. That's my personal stance on it. I'm sure people will disagree. I'm sure there are people that they just want to be very good at the video game and that's all they want to do. I know people like that. There's some Thief players, for example, that I know that are incredible players, and as far as I can tell, like they don't share any of that knowledge with anyone else ever. Every single video that they have is unlisted, and you have to get through it through a particular like Discord community or whatever. And it's stuff that you just will not find unless you have a specific connection to specific people. Oh, hey Lynn, what's up? And it's I yeah, I wouldn't say blame, but I think that the hardcore players have a degree of responsibility. And I'm open to being, I guess you could say, wrong about this, like the position that I have on this. I may not be right about it. It's just kind of how I feel. And if you feel differently, I'm not mad at you or anything. And, maybe you could provide counter arguments, and that's fine too. I think that's totally okay. Because, everybody's different and they're going to approach things differently.
On the other hand, sometimes I like to think about this because when I watched, uh, the I'm not sure last time, but when there was the accessibility topic one with Bacon Boy and Camino, and I there were people, and I too started to say that there should be a lot of accessibility options in the game, and but like it should be, and I like obviously should be, but I think sometimes I try to understand why, or well, not understand, but like trying to see what could be the reason sometimes that maybe our internet doesn't want to add or just won't add yet. And the only thing I can sometimes think of is oh, it's Bacon Boy, hello.
Oh
That
shit.
Oh no, we summoned everyone. But no, honestly, sometimes the only drawback I can think of optional things that you can just you can decide yourself that you want it or not, that can help with with your gameplay in Guild Wars, that there will be always people who will abuse everything to perform either better or have easier time in it, just like us, in real life, there will be assholes who have no disability at all. Because I know one person in this building where I live as well who had no disability at all, but has a disability card that she uses for personal reasons, and just I mean, she actually does not have any disability. It's because of her mother only, but she uses it to just free park anywhere she wants. And I think that's the thing that could be something a little bit discouraging for our internet, maybe, as like a possible source of why they haven't added anything yet that is optional. Because probably there will be many people who will just abuse it because, hey, if it makes my gameplay easier, or like makes it easier for me to like DPS or whatever, do rotations easier, then why not just use it? So I think it should be not even optional for accessibility, but it should be there, and probably maybe always on, or I don't know, well, unless it's maybe a visual thing, you know, because that you can maybe you know, as an example, I'm meaning like if there is like a thing that will have with color brightness, that will be different. But if there is like a optional to, I don't know, telling your game to press three skills instead of one on one key press built into the game, something like that probably will be abused, I think.
Yeah, I think that's also a possibility. And I think about different stuff like that. And just on a personal level, there's something that I'm currently overseeing and kind of managing that's an add on for the game. It's not complete yet, it's in more or less kind of early stages, but it's something that I think is important, and it's something that adds a very, very, like, what's the word for this? It's like it adds a very extreme degree of monitoring things that are going on in the game to a level that I don't think anyone has really seen up to this point. A little bit. Like some people in the past have seen the big floaty HP bars that I was using a long time ago. That whenever there was the whole arc, the drama arc between me and Bagawan, like years ago over DPS meters and add ons and stuff. And at one point, Chris Cleary just specifically said that that was not combat data and that it was illegal to have. But now, as time's gone on, we have stuff like logging. Logging is so in depth now. You can see how people moved in the fight, how people were stacking. You can see
Oh
every
yeah,
key
true.
that they press, the whole entire fight. You can see like who fed to what mechanic, who made the oil get bigger on demos. You can see all of this stuff through logs. You have the extension that shows everybody's boon uptime in a little table. You have the extension that makes combat data, like the attacks and the damage you're taking, flow up the middle of the screen, so you don't necessarily have to look at the combat log or the DPS meter. And so I think stuff like the floating HP bars and having boons float above people's heads, all of this stuff, I don't think they would be as strict on now, but maybe they would. But there are other things that I want to push through too that are a little bit more gray area in terms of the TOS. But this is something that I believe in enough personally where I want to keep the people that are developing and contributing to this protected. And I'm totally willing, I'm literally willing to take all of the brunt of the you know recoil from this if like Grouch or whoever comes out and says like this add-on violates the TOS. I'm prepared to say I'm okay with that because this is going to help people more than it's going to hurt the game, and I'm willing to take like a permanent ban over it. Like I've done a lot in the game. I spent a lot of time in this game, a lot of money on gems, a lot of money and time on legendary armor, and I'm happy to be the bad guy when it's necessary. I've always been like that. But this is something that I think rather than, being the bad guy over legendary armor being shitty, this is something that actually is like meaningful, and I'm absolutely happy to fight for a cause that I think is good. And I wanted to also jump in about Spirit Dragon and some stuff in chat. The stuff that a lot of the hardcore community has compiled, like specifically with Snow Crows, they list out rotations in text form. They give you videos, and like on YouTube now, you can slow the videos down and you can watch the rotation in real time. They give you numbers that theoretically you should be able to hit. They tell you how they hit that number. They give you like a very good explanation of the build. And Meta Battle also has other stuff. They have I didn't actually know this, but Noxxi showed me before the uh, podcast started that there are some low intensity builds on Meta Battle. I didn't know that they had that, and there are write ups on how things work and how you can, I guess, play in a way that's not as intense or crazy as some of the hardcore builds like a Willbender. Willbender is absolutely nuts, but Specifically, I guess I'm talking when I say that because there is documentation that is very well done by a lot of the super elite guilds and stuff that Hardstock is doing. But I guess when I say that, if I go into a strike mission group that's 1,000 legendary insights and 1,000 bone skinner tokens, if I go into a dragon's end, that they literally want Li to be able to do the dragon's end. If I go into a group like this, or 50,000 like essences or fractals, those are hardcore players, and those players, if you don't, you know, contribute to whatever level they think you should contribute, they'll just kick you without any explanation. They'll flame you. Sometimes they block you and whisper you and they shit talk you. That's more what I'm specifically talking about. And I think players like that, it's just as easy to say, hey, we removed you from the group because your DPS is a little bit low and maybe you should investigate your build and like what's going on before you do that. And it's super easy to tell someone something like that and kick them rather than just saying, holy shit soul beast, like worst player in A, and then you just kick them, because that's usually what happens. People don't have any kind of patience. They get frustrated instantly and they just want to be done with what they see as a problem. And I think that's an issue. Like Lynn is saying with macros and stuff like that. Um, I personally, there are solutions that I have to not using macros, like on mantras on Firebrand, for example, or stuff on Revenant. I'll press, like, I have my keybinds for those things bound to, my utility skills are bound to 2, 3, and 4. And if I want to activate two utility skills at the same time, I'll just press the space in between the 2 and the 3 key, or the 3 and the 4 key, and let them queue and cast. I'll do stuff like that. And that's kind of how I find a way around macros. But I don't have a problem with stuff like macros. I actually do have macros for build templates and equipment templates. I have those all bound to F1 through F6. And so whenever I press F1, it does the equipment and build switch at the same time instead of having to have two different keybinds for those things, which I think is stupid. And so I don't, if someone is literally like the picture that I saw in the accessibility server whenever it was, just created anew, someone like literally just had one thumb on their left hand, and that person could probably easily benefit from macros and having something, and I don't have a problem with that. And if the cost of that person being able to play a video game that they love is somebody macroing their whole elementalist rotation with celestial gear, I don't care. Let the other person macro the whole game and AFK the whole time. If it helps someone else access a game and experience something that they love and they can't do otherwise, or have incredibly difficult time with otherwise.
Yeah, I agree with this honestly. Like to me, it's just the thing that uh, I think everyone should be able to enjoy the game and not just be on like benched, on the side because hey, you have disability. Sorry, and like that's doesn't feel right. At least not to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's a difficult issue. ArenaNet is obviously a company, and they have to worry about things that include how much dev time is this going to take, how much money is it going to generate for us.
Yeah,
They have to think about ratios and topics like that before they go and determine that it's worth implementing, because they're a business. Their role is to generate income, generate revenue for shareholders, or for like NCSoft as a publisher, whatever the case is. And so if accessibility options aren't necessarily the most profitable thing, if you're a business psychopath, which I'm not saying ArenaNet necessarily is, but if you're very business minded and profit driven, then from that perspective, it may not make any sense to spend time developing accessibility features.
Yeah.
But I think there is an intangible level of benefit for people that Kamina, for example, I've talked to him and I just like flat out asked him, I said, if playing Guild Wars 2 is painful for you, why do you do it? And he said, I'm going to be in pain anyways. I would rather just be able to enjoy the game than like staring at the ceiling, being in pain. And it's just like, damn, I wouldn't have thought of that. And so if you help someone access something in a way, like I think it's worth the dev time. I guess this is the best way to put it. It's worth the dev time because you're giving someone an experience that you don't know how valuable it is to them. You don't know how much good that's doing. It's doing an incredibly high level of good for them. It's giving them something to integrate with, to interface with other people, to have a social experience, to have a fun experience with a video game. And who cares if it's not the most profitable thing to do? That's my opinion on it. But it's just a very complicated issue, and it's something that a lot of people don't understand. There's just a lot that goes into it, and it's something that I think ultimately takes a balance, or that's something that people are going to have to take on a lot of work and responsibility and a lot of risk for too, because the stuff that I'm personally trying to oversee, I mean, does it get me banned? I don't know. Is it going to put people at risk that want to have these accessibility options to the game, and they're risking also like their accounts too, just to be able to play a game and have a better experience with? I like. There's just a lot.
Mm, yeah, I mean, it's to think about it honestly, it's kind of hard to like make it very equal for basically everyone. It's kind of like it's honestly like real life. It's basically impossible, and I think we all know that. But at least it should be like how to say, like getting the closest you can to it, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you might say that having the perfect level of accessibility and the perfect amount of options and everything, you might be able to correctly say that it's an unachievable goal. People cannot be perfect and they can't do perfect things ultimately, but I don't think that's a valid reason to say, well, we're just not going to put any effort into it and we're not going to try. And so I just think that there's ultimately more that could be done. Ultimately, I think the responsibility for that falls into a few different areas, and then there's a lot that goes into it too. But also, I mean, this is a topic that I think we could all talk for like 10 hours on, and
Yeah.
so there's just a lot. MMO Inks in the chat too.
Yep. Also, yeah, I actually remember Kamina saying something like that, or talking about that they can't really use like third-party apps or like some certain specific things because it basically just gets them banned because Arena just doesn't allow like those kind of extras to the game. So it's a bit which I actually don't know. Well, yeah, I guess it's back to the thing that people sometimes can and will abuse every single thing they can for to make it easier to play, even if they actually don't have to, because they have no problems otherwise anyway. So I think I think the most problem comes from the thing that there will be always people who will abuse every single thing they can for themselves. They don't care if it's like cheating or not cheating, or like loopholes or like holes in the rules or whatever, they will just try everything they can, and there will be always these type of people.
Yeah, for sure. And those people are going to exist in every single community and every single place until the end of time, and they always have existed. You're going to have people that, I mean, to a degree, I'm like that. Um, I just try to break everything and I try to do everything like in the easiest way possible because I'm a combination of clever and lazy, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
but most of those are basically just game mechanics, not like breaking the game itself
yeah.
in a way. It's not like you are hacking the game for it or something.
Well, you know.
Hacker man.
But yeah, it's I think it's a overall I think it's a very important topic, and I think the way that things are going forward right now, I think it's something that a lot of people have become more aware of. It's something that there's action being taken on because we have the accessibility wars community that's popped up. We have, like I was talking about, this particular add-on. There's a lot of stuff that's I think going on, and I think it's something that I don't know. Maybe you could call it a movement. I don't know what you would call it, but
Maybe a start of
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Well, oh, I suddenly forgot again my train of thought.
Well, I mean, we could talk about also like we're in addition to the accessibility community going forward, like the game as a whole going forward, because ArenaNet just released that
Oh yeah.
massive. That's like the craziest blog post of all time for Guild
Oh
Wars
hell
2.
yeah. That was
They're like,
big.
oh yeah, by the way, like here's all this information. Oh yeah, fourth expansion pack coming. And it's just like, wait, what? What?
I kinda I'm actually already curious, like where that will go, even though I know that that's probably not gonna be on the site for like at least 3 or 4 years probably from now on. Because I feel like that I actually don't even know how they plan to do like the what is supposed to come, season 6? Because IBS is like season, oh, I actually don't know because it's like a saga, but like I don't know anymore. Like these kind of namings are just confusing me by now.
Yeah, I think it's season 6. I guess if you consider Icebrood Saga season 5. I don't even consider Icebrood Saga a part of the game personally because I think it was so fucking bad. But you know, that's just this is my take on it. But yeah, they're moving in. You know, their track record historically for this kind of stuff really leaves a valid level of skepticism and criticism to have. But I would personally say the past 6 months, maybe 8 months, they've been really doing a lot of good stuff. They've been very aggressive, and they've been pushing stuff very heavily in the right, what I would call the right direction. And I don't currently have any reason to doubt that they're going to continue to do that. I think that they're already talking about big stuff. As if I was a world versus world player, I might not be so confident about something like alliances because they've talked about it for so long, but they did betas for it, and there's a lot of stuff that they have to fix for it.
Yeah,
And with PVE stuff, maybe it's a little bit more easily because they've promised more balance patches. They're already doing another balance patch, and they admitted, which is I think a huge thing, they admitted that they kind of screwed up on Catalyst a little bit,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they're making some fixes to that, which I think is really good. And I think that they are taking a very aggressive position, and they're really going to do a lot going forward. And I don't currently think there's any reason to doubt that because, like, for the expansion announcement, that's huge. You have the balance announcement, that's huge. You have I guess, the season 6 announcement, like, that's all big. and talking about how they're ensuring us that PvP and World versus World are still something that they're working on because they consider them cornerstone game modes. It's just a huge thing. And then they gave us the preview of the next patch that's coming on, what was it, like the 29th or something, that's coming up soon. I don't know if it was the
Yeah, something.
29th. Yeah, 29th. And so this is all big stuff, and I think it makes me very hopeful for the future. I think I'll probably continue to play.
PvP second game mode, yeah.
Stronghold.
I actually have the last time I actually PvP, just it's a little bit off topic, but the last time I played PvP was like in 14 or something like that. I actually can't remember. I have one game and I rage quitted it. And it's still in my history. In my
2014.
Yeah, it was like the last time I played PvP in my life. I never since played PvP ever.
Yeah, I really am at the point where I just can't play PvP anymore because everything that I just said, like about being positive and helpful and not being toxic,
Yes.
the second I go into PvP and die on Thief, all of that instantly goes out the window. I immediately become a raging asshole, and like my face turns red and I breathe fire and my eyes light up like an anime character, and I just can't do it anymore. I grinded PvP so hard for legendary backpacks and stuff, and playing Thief just in general. You have to really there's just a lot more that goes into playing Thief, and I just kind of gave up on it a while and played Burn Dragon Hunter when that was a thing, and it was just a free farm. You could just go mid and put down traps and Scepter 2 and everyone would die. And it's just like, oh, okay, I can just play a free broken build, but if I want to play a build that I have to try on, it literally doesn't contribute to anything. And so I get so mad about it. It just makes me angry. I immediately flame everyone. I turn off map chat and I just flame everyone in map chat. And I turn off all of the other chats. I turn off emotes. And it just like, oh my god, I become such a toxic asshole that I just don't PvP anymore because it's not worth the experience of getting that mad. I don't know why it makes me so mad. It just kind of does. So I'm just like, all right, well, I obviously don't enjoy this, so I just won't play it.
Honestly, I'm the same. I get very salty in PvP games, like not just in like any game. Honestly, if it's like competitive PvP, I mean, obviously it's PvP, so it's competitive. But I don't know. It just both myself that I know I suck at any kind of PvP style of game, like any game mode, whatever. I love some kind of competitive stuff. So like like just slightly off topic, but like playing FPS, like shooter games, that's a little bit different for me. But like playing League or such, no thanks. Like fuck that, honestly. But I don't know. So I remember I played one game on my Mesmer because that was the only character I had actually geared out. So I was it was actually like a friend telling me like, why don't you try out PvP? And I'm like, okay, all right, like where do I go? Okay, I press the whatever button and like go into the miss. Okay, I queue up. Okay, I waited, it pops me in and like, okay, it's preparation. Okay, start and like, okay, going, and then the thief shows up, one shots me and I die. All right, I'm resurrecting. Okay, I'm going back. Thief shows up, one shots me. Of course, because I was in berserker gear. Why not? And then I just kept dying, like literally on the spawn, just as I leave it, and we were on the map that has the catapults, and the thief was just basically camping me. So I was like, you know what, fuck this game, and I just alt F4 out. I didn't care, and then when I next day log back into the game, I saw that they win, but I quit, so I had the thing in it in the history, and it's still there to this day in my history.
Yeah, it's Yeah, I just don't. If I want to fight other people 1v1, or if I want to go troll groups of players, I just go into world versus world because I think it's a bit more fun to do that. And the world versus world updates, personally, I don't know how much they're gonna affect me because I just kind of roam and run around and do the same thing where I'll just go to the dueling areas and duel people, or I'll just run up and one shot people on Thief. And so it just I don't know. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be good. I hope it'll be good for the people that play the game mode hardcore. But there are so many people that just play the game hardcore in world versus world, and it's been the same content for like 25 years, and they just keep at it. That really anything you can give them at this point will probably be welcome, or maybe they'll hate it because they're just so used to doing the same thing over and over. I don't know.
Yeah. Actually, just a little bit of backpedaling, kind of. I just wanted to agree with Asen that it's actually does make sense and nice that they mentioned very early right now that there will be a fourth expansion because, well, a lot of people thought that EoD will be the last one. So I think it's kind of a good move that they just outright said right away, like not even a month later after EoD came out, that yeah, there will be a fourth expansion. So so stick around with the game more, please. Kind of, because honestly, even with some sponsored videos I've seen on YouTube from some other content creators, like who don't really play Guild Wars 2, it was just for advertisement, and they were like, yeah, this is the last expansion of Guild Wars 2, and it's like, no, don't say that, like, it's not.
Yeah, Guild Wars 2 end of development.
Yeah,
That was a meme for a while, but I'm really glad that they're gonna. And yeah, it's stuff with DirectX 11. You wouldn't spend any time developing that, and especially it's still in beta
yeah.
while EoD has already come out. I don't think you would invest anything into that unless you had plans for at least one more expansion. They may have plans for two. They may want to do two. I don't. Maybe more than that. I'm not sure.
I
I don't know
mean,
how long they want to keep it going,
they
but
honestly could go for quite a while. I mean, if he, okay, it's maybe not the best example anymore, but like World of Warcraft also has like a lot. But um, I'm not gonna talk about Shadowlands because that's like I want to just imagine that it just does not exist anymore.
yeah, I know. I mean, I know very little about World of Warcraft overall. Just that the game has been around for 50 years and people still play it and everything. And so I don't. Maybe they want to do that with Guild Wars 2. Maybe they just want to keep it alive for a long time. Guild Wars 1, maybe did that last for 10 years? I'm not sure, but it lasted for a while.
It was, it kind of started to die out like as soon they kind of announced Guild Wars 2, so it was like 3 years after. Because in like 2008, there was many people I knew who just basically started to stop playing the game because, oh well, Guild Wars 2 is coming, so whatever, and they just, the only thing that they promised us that the two game will be connected a little bit, by the hell of hell hall of monuments, and that's
Yeah,
it. Like, so people, so it was more like just people try to do achievements, or like well, not achievements, but like titles and stuff, and that's it.
and there's still people that play Guild Wars 1 also that have just, I guess they were so invested into the game. There are Discord servers where people still, trade. People
Yeah,
still do big farms and stuff. It's really interesting. God, if Guild Wars 1 was active for 8 to 10 years before Guild Wars 2 came out, and then Guild Wars 2 came out, and Guild Wars 2's been out for almost 10 years. Guild Wars 1 has been a thing for like damn near 20 years, I guess.
yeah.
And if you started playing that when you were a kid and still play it, that's like your whole life basically. You've grown up. most of your life with Guild Wars. That's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's honestly still a very precious thing for me. Not to mention that it was very funny the way I actually found the game, because I missed the first game, which was way actually there wasn't a huge delay in terms of me missing the release of Prophecies, the first one, because there was like how I basically joined the game like maybe eight months later after its release or something. But I literally just sat on the game for like half a year as a kid, obviously, because I was very much a kid. I was like what 14 or something, so I had no money, nothing. But I was like sitting around like I was like, how is this game free to play? Like, how does it not have a monthly sub fee or anything like World of Warcraft and all the others that were coming out and were announced and stuff like. Ah man, this is gonna be just another like shitty Korean whatever green the game, and it's like, oh, it's actually not Eastern. I'm like, okay, maybe we should try it. And then my friend and I bought it, and we were like, holy shit, this is great. Except for Prophecies, after Factions came out, Prophecies seemed like, oh no, I don't want to go back to that again.
I didn't start playing Guild Wars 1 until after Guild Wars 2, and it is a very interesting and robust game, and it gives you a lot of stuff to do. And yeah, it's crazy that it's free to play. You just buy it once. If you bought Guild Wars 1 when the game first started, that's a crazy amount of value. Like how much value you've gotten out of it if you still play it. That's insane. And it's still aesthetically pleasing to look at. I think the graphics and everything, yeah, it's a little bit outdated. The
Yeah,
combat's a little bit outdated. The UI is a little bit out, but it's still. I
the
think it's a
game,
visually
yeah, the
pleasing
game
game.
gameplay is more like that thing where you have it like it's kind of fun to this day.
Yeah, the no jumping really freaked me out, and the way that pathing and everything works.
Yeah,
But personally, I guess whenever Guild Wars 1 was out, I had never really played video games. I a little bit like Pokemon games on Game Boy, and I got a GameCube and played Mario Sunshine and Wind Waker a little bit. But I had never played an online multiplayer game really until Halo 3 when I was in high school, and I wasn't too serious about it. I wasn't good at it, and I just, played it here and there and whatever. I guess I played Guitar Hero a little bit and it's whatever. But then, oh my god, I had friends in high school that were playing League of Legends, and I watched them and said, fuck, this game looks really fun. And they would get mad at it. They would, like, get super hyped about stomping other enemies or other people, like other players. And I knew, I said, if I touch this fucking game, if I touch like an online MOBA or an MMO or something, my life is going to end. And so that's literally basically what happened. I got into League of Legends and played it nonstop for fucking years. And
oh my
oh
god,
my,
did you?
yeah, I I basically quit League of Legends because all of my other friends quit to go do different things, and League of Legends is one of the games where I figured out, oh, I can grief, but I can do it in a multiplayer game where I ruin other people's experiences. And I did that in Minecraft because I just kind of played Minecraft here and there too, and I realized that there were like hacks and cheats, and I could grief really hard in that. But again, I wasn't too serious about it. League of Legends, I took that game so seriously, and whenever I quit, I just got sick of losing, and so I had the definitely not Blitzcrank skin, and I would go leash the blue buff for the jungler.
Oh,
This
I
is like
have that.
season 1, season 2 League of Legends, like
Yeah.
old League of Legends. I would do the Superman leash where I would run across the other side of the wall and move back and forth. And right before blue buff was about to die, I'd rocket grab it over the wall, steal the buff, immediately go feed it to the enemy mid laner, and then AFK in base. And they would say like report Blitzcrank feed, and I would just say it's definitely not Blitzcrank. And I threw my ranked elo down from something like 1300 all the way down to like 250, some crazy fucking low number, because I just fed for like 200 games in a row and lost every single game. And then I just quit playing, and I found Guild Wars 2 and started playing Guild Wars 2 instead.
Honestly, regarding League, I do you. I'm not sure. Okay, I actually don't know when did season one even start after like the release of the game, because I started very early after the release of League, but I still remember the old uh, Twisted Fate, Destiny teleport, and then Ward, and everyone teleports on it on that one single bush next to the turret, and then just kill the first person that just came in. This was it was so funny, and then I also tried and remember the old Suicide Evelyn build, which was running revive, and then you just died to the jungle monster, to the golem, and then the tactic was that your teammates literally had to flame you in all chat. So when it was new, people thought that you were like a shit jungler who literally just dies to the mob and can't do shit, and then you just press revive, run back because you had the speed buff, and then you had smite, so you just quickly killed the. Oh, and you actually had more HP because revive then gave you like extra 400 HP, so you run back with more health, and you had movement speed, so you quickly killed the golem and something else I don't really exactly remember, and then you went gank in invisible immediately, and they just killed two person. This was like there was so many hilarious shit in early in the game.
Oh yeah, I would do stuff like take Mordekaiser top
Yeah.
or Mordekaiser mid, and I would build fucking like mobility boots and 6 gunblades,
Oh
and I
yeah,
would take promote like one of the cannon
yeah,
minions
yeah,
and
yeah,
just push it all the way down the fucking lane instantly, and one shot everyone with like the E and the Q, and like you could throw the W, was it? The AoE that did the metal shards that flew around. Like you could throw that
yeah,
on the promote minion
yeah.
and
W.
just like fucking shred everybody to pieces, push the lane down super fast. You could do so much bullshit, and it was
Yeah.
such a different game. It was fucking crazy, and I just like I really loved that. And then that was another thing coming to Guild Wars 2, because at that time in League of Legends there was so much diversity and so much bullshit strategies that you could do. I'd come over to Guild Wars 2 and it's like, oh wow, nice. It's the exact same game. It's just got a different combat system and a
Yeah.
different camera. I can play bullshit cheese builds. I can play Minion Necro. I can play Berserker's Warrior and just farm every dungeon by myself. There's Elementalist and Ice Bow and all these things. And it just kind of carried over really
Oh man,
naturally.
you would have loved Guild Wars 1 first instead, when if you would have like bumped into that game earlier before Guild Wars 2, because you could make so many bullshit builds with those, like, oh my god.
I got back into it a little bit whenever they released the anniversary stuff, the new skills and weapons, and I got my Necro and got the new scythe for it. I don't think I ever got the elite skill that made everything function correctly, but it was functional enough to where you could still kind of do it. And like I farmed the dwarf instance in Eye of the North over and over, and found out that you could literally just run through everything and then just camp and like one shot and life steal the boss down or whatever at the end. That was really fun. Um, in seeing some of the farm builds that people would play, where it's literally you just the meta is to go in, group up every single mob in the entire instance, and then just like one shot them all.
Yeah.
It's really really crazy to see stuff like that. Guild Wars 2, it's different because you have the combat system and the camera movement and everything is a super different game than that. But there was still stuff that you could You could do one-shotting Lupicus. We figured that out, and other people kind of figured it out. Scrit bottles, all of that stuff. That the bouquet of roses. Oh my god, that's something that still people don't know about that. And it was in the game for a really long time. There was a bug that you can do in PvP where you used Mace 2 on Guardian or Mace 3, the block, and you would dodge roll off of a cliff or off of like a terrain, and the block would stay there permanently and you could never take any damage.
What?
When turret engineer was a thing, you could like rocket boots off of a mountain and put fucking turrets in the air and like all this shit. And that was I had fun doing that. I love doing all these bullshit strategies and playing builds like that. It was super fun. And then eventually I just became a, as people would say, a meta slave and just played whatever did the highest DPS, and I just really like that. But it's yeah, my Guild Wars 2 journey has been absolutely crazy. I've changed so much as a person and also so much as a player in the game too. It's been a wild ride.
I'm just reading what Asen said. Okay,
Oh yeah.
that's good.
Oh yeah.
I'm just imagining it.
That was something that you could do with roses. Another thing with the roses is I don't exactly know how it works, but the bouquet of roses, you can throw it over your head and it goes backwards and it can fall into someone else. And when it does that, like they're holding roses now and they have a different skill set or like a different skill bar. And then we realized we could do that to enemies. You could throw the roses over your head,
What, really?
and it wouldn't give the roses to the enemies, but it would give them the skill bar, and it would just completely disable their AI. They would just stand still and they would never do anything. And then we realized that actually you didn't have to run up to an enemy and throw the roses. You could just target the enemy from any range as long as you were still able to target it, throw the roses, and it would put the rose UI onto that enemy.
Huh.
And so basically the way that we did dungeons and fractals and everything, that was back when we were going up to, I think, really high fractal levels and it got crazy. Mossman, as soon as Mossman would spawn, throw the roses and he just sits there AFK and you just burst him down instantly. Lupicus, throw the roses. The harpies on the stairs on the uncategorized fractal, you just have 5 people with roses and you just rose every single harpy all the way up the steps and then you just jump past them for free. There was you could do so much stuff with that. Eventually they fixed it, and there was another consumable too called Scrit bottles that you could buy from a NPC, and this actually got like hot fixed and disabled, but it did a flat percentage of an enemy's maximum health. I think maybe it was 20 or 30%. So you could just run up to Lupicus, for example, with a Scrit bottle and auto attack him 3 times or whatever, and he would just die because it did like 30 or whatever percent of his max. I guess 4 times, and it would just kill him immediately. There were so many things like, and that's also like we were talking about, running around and exploring everything earlier. That's something where if you do all the hearts, and you talk to all the NPCs and all of the vendors and everything, that's how you find those things. You find them. Most of the roses were a gem store item, same with like the executioner's axe, but you find all of these things and you get rewarded for exploring by these weird little items that do weird stuff and help you kind of cheese mechanics. And then they disabled a lot of it from dungeons, which I think dungeons are kind of the perfect place to have stuff like that, because you go in and you just kind of have fun. You just run through it and kill everything and use some stuff that's kind of gimmicky. Maybe you don't, who cares? And I really enjoyed that aspect of the game. I thought it was very unique, and then they just kind of nerfed everything away. Executioner's Axe is still something that's kind of weird, because a long time ago your movement skills would scale based off of movement speed modifiers. So if you had swiftness or super speed, they would go a longer distance. But execution, they changed that to where it doesn't happen anymore. But
Huh.
executioner's axe, it still happens. So if you super speed and then charge with executioner's axe, you fly across like the whole map.
Oh, so that's why people use that all the time because I just couldn't understand like what's the point of it. But I just seen people go fast with it. But when I tried without buffs and anything, it was like yeah, just a dash and like what? How does it work? I actually couldn't understand, but I now understand why.
Yeah, that's exactly why they do it. It works with the Choya tonic too, I think. The Choya tonic at least works similarly, where you do the like really long roll, but that one you can grief people too because it's an attack, and if you roll into someone that's doing the executioner's axe since they go the same speed, it knocks them down and cancels the skill. It's really funny.
Honestly, if I would have like a game development studio, whatever, making games like these kind of players that I would love all the time because they could just find so many bullshit in the game that are like not intentional for some obviously it's not intentional, but like it's just so fun to see some of these. Honestly, if like something doesn't ultimately break the game, I will be like fuck it, leave it in, like I don't care, it's just funny.
Yeah, I think obviously in content that's supposed to be more hardcore, like maybe raids or strike missions, I think it's fine that stuff like that gets disabled and that they fix as many bugs as
Yeah, like
possible.
the rocks or whatever people use for the break bars or whatever.
Yeah, there were a lot more things than just the Mr. Tilted Dolphin. Also, yes, that is me. But the rocks, there were rocks. I think there were two or three different types of rocks. And then there were the boards. The boards did the same thing. They did a ton of CC. Now we have the way station, which you can use in the open world and on Suwon and stuff. You could, I don't know, you could probably do the boards and the rocks too on Suwon, but stuff like that just completely nukes break bars, and it's really, I think it's a gimmick, but I think it's kind of fun. I don't think it's too harmful or anything. But there's stuff that absolutely is harmful. There are in PvP Revenant Sword 3, the one that makes you teleport around.
Yep.
You could do stuff. If someone used that skill on you, you could run over to a wall and turn around backwards, and then they would fall through the map. Stuff like that, yeah, that's kind of broken, and it probably shouldn't be in the game. But
Yeah, that actually happened to me in PvE because there was a mob that I was targeting when Revenant first came out, and there was a lot of walls in HOT as well, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just try the skill because it looks so cool, and then the mob just run to the wall for some reason because probably it just couldn't target me or whatever, I don't know, and then I just ended the skill and go stuck in the wall and like oh amazing.
yeah, it's oh god, Tilted Dolphin rewatched my old Eugene stuff. No, you shouldn't do that. That stuff is that stuff's awful, and no one should ever see it. Oh my god.
Unlist it
Yeah, that
quickly,
was no. It's not even. Oh, that stuff's not even on my. It's on someone else's
Oh.
channel. I don't have any.
DMCA.
I could DMCA it and yeah, like take it down, but it's I don't. I have no control over it. Really, that's I'm not gonna tell anyone how to find it. If you want to go find all those Easter eggs of
And then
content that
you
I used to make,
find
just go.
the Streisand effect or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's something that you. It's a journey you have to take by yourself. It's not particularly good content. It's weird. Oh no, it's. I mean, it's so ultimately it's okay. Um, it is what it is. It's. I had a good time making that stuff, and it's just crazy and weird more than anything else. It was ultimately supposed to be a parody of some of the developers and some of the player base. And I think I did a good job capturing the spirit of some of it. But ultimately, it's just very it's weird for me to go back and watch. It's just like, oh wow, this is kind of weird. The build guides though specifically, holy fuck. There's some build guides that I made years and years ago on that same channel. Those are horrifying. It's just the entire time I'm just cussing and saying like, yeah, this is bullshit, this is stupid, take this trait, who cares? And they're really cringe to watch. They're really horrible, but if people like them and think it's funny, then that's okay. It's a little Easter egg that's still out there, I guess.
I should watch it. Yeah.
But yeah, the game was, oh man, the game was so different so long ago. And the build system that we have now, build and gear and everything, back in the day, you had this like trait
The
point
traits,
system.
yeah, that's what I wanted to mention.
Yeah, and you had people that would put an uneven amount of points into, because I think maybe the trait lines even gave you stats. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
They actually gave you stats. So like when you were elementalist, you were forced to take fire because fire was power.
Yeah, it was stuff like that. Now they're just traits and different lines that give you like 200 stat points or whatever. They give you like a percentage of vitality goes into healing power, stuff like that. But it's it was very different back then, and you would have people like, if you wanted to get a master trait or whatever, you'd have to put 10 points into that trait line, but you would have people that would just put 9 points into it, so they're getting 190 power instead of like 200 or whatever, and then they would put one randomly into a trait line that gave them toughness or something because they wanted to have a little bit more toughness than everyone else so they could take aggro on particular mobs. It was, people were doing crazy stuff that was just honestly kind of weird and dumb, but it and then they made the traits to where you had to run around through the open world and unlock them like Guild
Oh
Wars 1
yeah,
skills.
yeah. Holy shit, that was so long ago. Oh fuck.
Yeah, because Guild Wars 1, a lot of the skills you have to go around and learn, and they did the same thing in Guild Wars 2 where you had to, if you wanted to get traits, you had to go unlock traits in the open world. If you wanted to get skills, I think skills work the same. It was so weird.
And you
That,
also needed the books for retrating, I think, or something.
yeah, you had to pay money to like retrade and stuff.
In a way, it was kind of stupid, but I think it was also kind of fun, honestly, because it for me, it kind of genuinely reminded me of the old Guild Wars 1 style of attributes.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if maybe ultimately that's why they did it, because it was a Guild Wars 1 thing that people liked. I don't really know. There was that whole new player experience thing they added. I think that's when they added the traits, being to where you had to go discover them. I think they added that as part of that new player experience. And it did weird stuff. It would send you Magical Mike, I think that's who it was. I think it was Magical Mike made a really good video of this that's probably still up. It was incredibly well done and incredibly correct on his analysis of everything. You'd be in Wayfarer Foothills as a brand new character that's like level 10, and you would get up to the corner of the map and it would say, oh, Frostgord Sound is this way, here's a new map to explore, and it would send you to a level 80 zone straight as a level 10, and you would go in and just instantly die.
Oh yeah,
It's just like, well, why would this happen? They changed the starting instances, I think, to where you could never die, to where you would always just drop to 1 HP,
yep,
stuff like that, which is, I don't know. They changed the way that you acquired the weapon skills too in those instances. I guess you would just get the auto attack, but you used to be able to run around and
yeah,
kill
just
mobs and
level
you
up.
would get.
Yeah, level it up.
Yeah.
I think that was way better than now. Like just locking skills behind levels. I know it's kind of quick, but I don't know. It just feels so meh.
They've they've updated this stuff. I feel like it's taken them a long time to get it right too, and it took them so many tries. And another thing is that the old game code is super broken. It's super spaghetti. And every time they went back to redo all of that stuff, it probably took a crazy amount of work. And so when people now talk about, and I'm a big advocate of really updating all of the lower level zones and updating all of the newer stuff or the older stuff to the same kind of specs that the new stuff is, difficulty and all of that stuff, it would probably take a crazy amount of work to go back and do that. And
Yeah,
at the same time, it's really just the same issue of time investment versus like how much you're gonna like your ROI, your return on investment, how much revenue you're gonna generate, all that stuff. So I think it would be one of those things where it does more good than bad, but it would definitely probably not be as profitable as you would do just making new content. But they're bringing season one back finally, which is something that I think they just flat out said at one point. They said that they didn't even have the
yeah.
stuff for season one. Maybe they had to completely rebuild it. I don't know, but
Well, they did say that it's basically just 5 story episodes, so I think they did just basically remake it. Just probably a few steps of it that is like probably simpler to make, but it makes sense story wise to put everything there in like some way, because obviously like season one was at least to me, as I remember, it was quite long in a way. So I don't think that you can just cram in all of that to like 5 story episode. That's impossible.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it. One thing that I think would be really fun is the South Sun Cove and the Karka and everything. I don't remember if that was part of season one, but it was really early, and that's where we met Canuck
Yeah,
at some point. So maybe that will come back somehow. Oh man, they could make the ancient Karka. They could do that as a strike mission. That would be crazy.
I think
They
they
probably won't, but
they said that they probably I think they said or mentioned that the battle on the Bridgemaker will be strike when we get rid of Scarlet basically.
yeah, I think that definitely makes the most sense to do that.
People say that they kind of can't wait for it, but uh, I don't know. Like they probably won't go with the exact same mechanics that it had, because while it had new mechanics at the time in the game, they are kind of like really nothing anymore. Honestly, like it's not even challenging in those terms anymore. Like there are so many new mechanics and stuff that is more interesting and more interactive in a way. Because okay, like remembering back, the only thing I remember that was kind of weird to me or like harder were these. The only thing I remember kind of about this was the color mechanics, because you had to pick like a specific buff which was used for one of these Scarlet clones or something. I can't exactly remember anymore, because I know that there were the Watch Knights before you get to the Breach Maker, which was an event where there was the three Watch Knights, which was blue, red, and green. I think, if I remember right.
Yeah,
And then you went to the Breach Maker, but it also used that same mechanic for like Scarlet clones or like holograms or something. I don't remember exactly, but there was a lot of AoE that you couldn't damage something because you didn't have like the correct color. And I don't think that these are like really too new anymore, or I don't know. Maybe they can make it more interesting.
I'm sure that they'll have that. Probably, I think, will be the strike, or maybe because you fought Scarlet also after all that was done. I think as part of the story instance, the part where Scarlet dies and Morgemoth wakes up, and
Yeah,
then
that
there's
was a story.
the big Marjorie and Casimir kiss thing that everyone went crazy over on Reddit,
Oh yes.
and I mean, they could make that. Maybe they could do. I don't know. I'm sure whatever they do, it's gonna take rebuilding. They're gonna have to go through and change things. But I think it'll be. And there were a lot of things in season 1 too, where you would run down a path and repair signposts that had some kind of information on them. There was an event where Scarlet would just randomly spawn somewhere in the open world and make mobs, and you just go kill them. There was a lot of random filler stuff that was just terrible, and that will definitely get cut out, and I don't think it will hurt at all to cut that stuff out. I don't know. Maybe Molten Facility. I would really like that dungeon to come back. I really love that dungeon, but I don't know that it will since it's a fractal. I'm not sure how that will work, but that was a big part of the season 1 stuff too. I'm not sure how they'll do it. I think 5 episodes probably is a good number. I think that'll give people a good recap, and I'm sure that, again, who knows how profitable this will be, but I think it will probably do a lot of good for people because it'll give that backstory. Scarlet, if you're a new player, like, you have no idea who Scarlet
Yeah.
is. You have no idea who any of this stuff is. The Aether Blades getting lost in Edge of the Mist. Like, you don't know anything about that other than what you read from those the ebooks or whatever. So I mean, I think it could do a lot of good to add all this stuff back. I wanna see what it's like. I wouldn't even mind Canuck being a strike mission where you recruit him to your team. That was a really crazy fight. But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I'm actually genuinely curious, like how they will do in like 5 episodes, because I also don't really know, because just as Asa mentioned as well, that a lot of things were basically open world things. Like there were instanced story parts as well, but I don't think that will be all. Like, because the open world things, like just as like the battle on or for Lion's Arch was also part of the story, but it was a full open world event, which was like 2 hourly or like every 2 hours. I don't know. I don't remember honestly. But yeah, like how do you do that in the story? Maybe I mean you can just dump it down and just like I don't know honestly.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't I don't know. I hope some way they bring old Lion's Arch back. That would be really nice.
I
That could
actually
even. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that actually I wouldn't even mind if they will bring back those Lion's Arch events with like this kind of Dragonstorm style instanced way, that there will be like public, like maybe in Lions, I don't know where, in like hubs, and it will be like in Eye of the North, that you can go in and like, I don't know, like relive those memories or something. I don't know, and just redo. I don't know, but I personally really loved that fight, that war map meta fight. That was really cool.
Yeah, I think something that they could do, because people want old Lion's Arch for sure. People still talk about
Yeah,
that all the time. It would be cool if they added that as a gym store pass that you could buy and just go back to it and hang out. I would buy that immediately. I don't know if that's something that they would do. Who knows? But I think that could be something cool, even if it was just a piece of it. But I would like to see. I would like to see that. I'm a big fan of old Lion's Arch. I hate new Lion's Arch. I think it's just really bad. Not as bad as maybe Lion's Arch was in Guild Wars 1. But I don't know. It could. There are, I think, a lot of things that they could do with it. And they brought, Marionette back and all that stuff, which is a good. That's maybe a little bit of a good intro to some of the season 1 stuff. Maybe people will go back and do that more. I'm not really sure.
yeah, I don't know. I I feel like Marionette is a little bit abandoned lately.
Yeah, I think so too. I think people have kind of, I guess, gotten tired of doing that, and it was never really rewarding either. which was also kind of the big problem. That's
Yeah.
why people quit doing it. And Dragon's End also, that's something that I worry about too. They made it slightly more rewarding, but I think they should do a lot more to it.
Yeah.
Um, I think they should make it a lot more rewarding because if not, I mean, I think people will just stop doing that too. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so far, maybe the only thing that you want is the S. But, um, like, obviously, you can get weekly 5 already, and that extra is maybe only good for those who want a legendary, but at that point, I think people can basically just buy it and just not bother by getting daily 1. I mean, it's still kind of nice in terms of value because it still runs around like between 13 and like 18 gold all the time, depending on the day and the time of the day. But
Yeah,
there should be more rewards, honestly, because it still feels so lackluster on that part.
I agree. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Personally, I think they should just add more raw gold to it. I think that would be an easy way to fix things, but maybe not. But yeah, and an ass from Strike CM too. I think they could do that. They could put the ass back on the Watch Knights and Marionettes too, but that's a different ass. But
Yeah, that's true. I was actually surprised with it.
that was the worst nerf in the history of this game. I was so sad about that.
No,
But whatever. It is what it is.
yeah, they nerfed the blunt damage. I don't
But
know.
what else is there? There's the balance patch coming up. Um they talked about Catalyst on that. They didn't really talk about some of the other stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe I don't know if they really need to nerf anything. Or they probably need to buff the shit out of Untamed because I don't think anyone's even playing that. I would be curious to see how many people even unlocked Untamed. I only unlocked. Did I unlock even 4 specs? I unlocked Willbender, I unlocked Harbinger, and Mechanist. And that might be it. I don't.
I
No, I think I unlocked Spectre too.
yeah, it's actually the same for me as well. Actually, I really like the play style of the Wheelbender. Actually, that's I find really fun.
Yeah, it's a really try hard build though. Bacon Boy and I were looking at that last night, and the one that he was playing, I guess it's the same build as the meta. We're doing this kind of contest that I won't talk about a ton right now, but we were looking at APMs for different builds, and Willbender to do like 30k something DPS is like 70 APMs, and you can do between 26 and 28k DPS on Power Necro with 12 to 16 APMs. And it's just, you think about stuff like that, and it's like, which one's better to play? Willbender is really difficult in a real encounter. It's going to be a lot more difficult to play because you have to worry about cooldowns, being in the right spot, all this stuff. And if you're just playing AFK Power Harbinger, it doesn't even matter where you are. You just spam power damage. Reaper, you buff yourself with quickness. Who cares? And you have crit
Yep.
chance and all this stuff. And so it's that's a whole other thing too. Just I don't know. It's kind of fun that they're try hard builds, but the same thing with Catalyst. Catalyst was a really try hard build, but it didn't contribute anything to the group really. It just did damage, and that was really all it did.
Well, it's something.
Yeah. But overall, I think everything has been really positive. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've kind of missed or that we've missed. I'm not too sure.
I actually kind of like that they did admit that they kind of over nerfed Catalyst.
Yeah, I think them saying that was a really good thing, and I think stuff like that is only going to make the community trust them even more because the community sees, oh, hey, yeah, they said that they made a mistake. And also, in addition to saying that they made the mistake, they're fixing it really fast.
Yeah,
It may not have even been. I don't even think it's been 2 weeks. Maybe it's only been a week since they nerfed it, and they're already buffing it and said like, "Yeah, we messed up." That's crazy. They've never done anything like that before.
yeah.
Like, I don't think they've done anything like that a single time.
I mean, it's way better than just them saying that. Well, statistics tell us that it's used like this, so we know better. And it's like, yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's, statistics are important, and statistics are something that we don't see as players, and they give ArenaNet a huge level of insight into the game that we don't have. But also, the people that go and complain on Reddit and the forums and stuff, well, the forums,
God, I hate the forums. Don't even mention this. Like full
yeah,
of dumbest people.
yeah. Nike and I were talking about this, I think last night, about the Catalyst nerf. Whenever they talked about it in the patch, and Nike was like, there were people that were complaining about the Catalyst nerf because it nerfed the damage and the class still didn't offer anything to begin with. But then there were people complaining about the Catalyst nerf because Catalyst has hammer instead of longbow.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. And
yeah,
so uh, you have to, I think, in addition to the statistics and everything you have to take into account personalities and what people think, and you have to know like who to ignore and who to listen to.
yeah. That's the problem for me is like don't want to sound mean, but it's the official forums, so obviously that's the thing they will mainly look at because that's their official feedback. But also, if you just look over the place, it's full of people who don't even know what they are talking about, but just whining about, oh my god, this is so OP and this shouldn't even exist, and they're like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Like, dude, like, it's like full of dumb people who just I don't know, like I don't want to sound mean. I don't know, just it pisses me off. Sorry.
Yeah, I stopped looking at the forums years ago, and I used to get on the forums and troll people, and I don't do that anymore. I just quit caring. And Reddit, I kind of read stuff on Reddit every morning. Whenever I'm waking up in bed and I'm just like on my phone trying to get awake, I'll look at the Reddit, and sometimes it's there's interesting stuff on there, and sometimes it's posts like the one that I tweeted
Oh,
the other day where they're
dragon
mad about,
mating,
yeah,
yes.
dragons mating. And so you just kind of, you never know what you're gonna get.
But yeah, like on the forums, like last time when I was watching Makla streaming, and someone brought up that they linked or were linked his video of the zero APM engineer build, that which well, not engineer but mechanist build, which just spams bomb kit auto attack and then just AFK and does like 24k DPS. And someone was linking these kind of low intensity builds and was and just kept saying in the thread that like this is unfair and whatever, and it's like it shouldn't even exist, and why is this a thing in the game that they can just literally AFK with one skill and do this, like this should be nerfed and like whatever. And people try to explain the dude to like, dude, this is not even doing optimal thing, like they are literally just standing in one spot with full buffs and everything, and like what do you expect? It just there for you like on open world events or whatever, or like open world bosses, or something, but like for raids you will still have to like dodge or move and stuff, you know. It's not like you're just standing there and just pressing one or whatever, you know. Just like they're not knowing what they are talking about.
Yeah, exactly. There's more to actually playing the game than what happens in the DPS golem
Yeah.
room. But I don't. I mean, I don't know. Um, there's just people just kind of. I think I don't know that I can remember something that people have ever been universally angry over or universally happy over, except maybe when you bought Heart of Thorns, you didn't get a character slot. That's something that I think
uh
almost 100% of people were mad about.
I think that was one thing that almost everyone was very angry about the mount skin thing, you know, the
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that.
Yeah, that was one, and now nobody cares anymore. And I
Yeah.
think they're like back in the loot boxes again. I don't know. I
No, no, because you can now buy the more expensive one for like three times the price in gems, but it's like a guaranteed skin you can pick. You know, that was the problem for people.
oh, okay, I see. Me personally, I have exactly one mount skin, and it is the fucking Woodland Sprite Springer. That is the worst mount skin they've ever made. It's scary, it's horrible to look at, and the only reason I have it is because I was trying to get that damn Aurora cape that was glittery and had 4 dye channels, and it took me like 800 Black Lion keys to get it, and I just got the Springer mount by accident. I actually got the Springer mount like 4 or 5 times, and I just, had to delete the other ones because it just gives it to you as a thing that you double click to consume, and
Yeah,
you can get it more than once. You just have to throw it away. And so God, I hate it so much. But I've never wanted to buy another mouse skin. I just don't really care about them. I don't really even care about dyeing them, to be honest.
yeah, they're kind of a weird thing because for me, it's like sometimes I want them, but then I'm like, yeah, but like for what? Like most of the people have like the lowest settings. They can't even see it because it's just the basic model that they can see. So it's like for buying it for just for myself to look at it, it's like I don't know. I mean, I have skins actually quite a lot of mount skins, but I actually stopped buying them, and I'm just at best case buying the very unique ones if I really like them.
Yeah, and then with glider skins too, I guess the other part of that is that glider skins feel like they're more a part of my character,
Yeah.
and mounts just feel like they're something that my character uses. And so I've bought glider skins here and there at different times, and they're kind of fun. And sometimes, like if there's a weapon skin that's cool, I'll buy that or whatever. But yeah, mounts have just, I don't know, never been a thing. I just honestly never cared about them.
Oh man, by the way, just regarding these kind of skins and stuff, I'm kinda the way I feel about the Jade bot because it's basically just a skill effect, so you don't really see it a lot, which is kind of funny because you know how they shout it off that you have this Jade bot that can do so many things for you, and then you only see it for like each time for like 2 seconds, you know, and it just reminds me of hold on, let me Google this. Oh, I don't know where it is.
Oh no, I
Uh,
got banned from chat for linking to Pegasus.
oh no. Oh wait, did oh no. Hold on. Oh yeah, because I still have turned on the thing. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
just 10 seconds. Hold on, wait. Oh wait, where can I turn off the linking? Oh my god, I don't know where. Moderation maybe.
I mean, I had never seen this skin, but I went to Google it, and yeah, that's actually really bad. I don't know if I think that's worse than the Woodland Sprite, but yeah, that is not a good skin.
God damn it. I don't know this where oh wait. Oh wait, it's not. Oh, it's the Stream Elements one. It's not the Twitch one. Ah, I don't know. uh I'm gonna fix this quickly, by the way. I don't
Sure.
care.
But yeah, mounts overall have just been kind of whatever to me. And that was Path of Fire when we got mounts. I don't remember if they give you mounts as part of EoD or not. I know you can definitely use them as
Yeah, you
part
can
of some of the
rent.
hearts, but I don't know if you can fully unlock them with EoD if you have those. I'm not sure.
Uh, didn't they say that you can like unlock the raptor or some or the raptor in it at least, or like the Springer maybe up to like the first four? I actually don't remember anymore.
Yeah, I don't really remember either. But I mean, I had Path of Fire and everything unlocked except the Sky
Yeah.
Scale, which I still probably will never unlock the Sky Scale because I just refuse to do that quest. I don't want to do it. Same thing for just some of the masteries. Like I'm never gonna be max mastery points because there's stuff that I'm just not gonna touch. I just don't want to do it. So I just whatever.
You
This
can
is
use
not
links
gonna.
now, by the way. I think it should work.
Okay,
I hope.
let's test it. Yeah, it looks like it.
Nice. Oh yeah, the Pepegas. Ah, I actually have that skin.
Oh no.
It's so funny. It looks so. I don't know. Oh yeah, by the way, that meme I wanted. Hold on, I'm gonna find it quickly. It's a really old meme, but I think I found it. It has a text, but I don't care. But when you have the jade butt, and then you just see it for like 2 seconds, and then it just disappears again. It's like people be like, "Yo, it's so cute." Oh, okay.
Yeah, that and people probably want skins for that, and people also probably are gonna want mechanist skins and stuff for the mech, which that's understandable. People want skins for the Blade Sworn thing, and that's understandable too. I just don't ever see them making that stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of. I feel like they just wouldn't make it, not because like it's because it's very profession specific thing. Like, why would you make a skin for like a single profession? Like, it's not even like it's medium gear or light gear or something, but it's actually only exclusively for mechanists, for example. And I just don't see that working for them.
Yeah, they could. I mean, they could make it and sell it for 250 gems, maybe, since it's just a specific thing. But then it may not just be worth it to develop it at that price. It probably wouldn't be. I don't know.
I will be more on the thing that probably everyone else will be mad that their own profession just can't get something unique so it will just start this war that, oh, why can mechanics get that kind of a specific skin for like the things, like what can I get for my specter then, like what is this shit. It would just start this 100%.
Yeah, can I get a different color shroud skin or something like
Yeah,
that?
honestly, this is what I kind of brought up a few days ago, I think, on Twitter, but I don't really think people understood what I wanted. But have you ever played what is it called, Path of Exile? Pui?
No, I never played it.
You can buy spell effects on it, so your spells look different.
Oh shit. Yeah, I mean that sounds like it could be something
So
cool.
it can be have like different and it has different color variations as well. Some of them depending on skill, but not so you can buy for every single spell that you can make or create a combo in the game, but there are specific skins for maybe like an aura that looks very different under you. Obviously it's for PvE only in that game because there's like no PvP in the game. I don't know. I don't play the game. I just played like few times before, but you can have a ton of spell effects that you can buy, so it changes the look of your spells, and they look really nice, honestly. And I
So
was
that could Oh, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
I just want to say so that it could be also like a thing for PV that I just mentioned funnily, like not really seriously, but it could be kind of cool in my opinion.
Yeah, that could be a cool thing. And, we have, I guess maybe that could a little bit make people angry that have legendary
Yeah,
weapons.
yeah, that's what I just wanted to mention.
But yeah, that's overall, I think that's definitely, that could definitely be a cool thing. And there are, I mean, already weapons and stuff that do unique effects and whatever, I don't know. But Thief has Shroud now, Necro has Shroud.
Yeah.
You have all that stuff like you can't really change, but also I guess that takes the legendary effects too. So I don't know. Maybe if they thought they could make money off of it without making anybody mad, I'm sure they would do it.
Yeah. Well, they could just make it like a in-game reward, like a legendary spell effect for one single spell that you can use.
Yeah, like an infusion or something, maybe. I don't know.
Actually, like I will be very honest, if they will make like an in-game collection where you can get like a legendary with it, and it may cost you more gold in game as well, and probably time a lot as well to complete the collection. But if it will give you like a legendary kind of item that says that whichever character it is on, it will change your, I don't know, like X weapons uh, skills to a specific team that legendary item has that you just unlock. And it will be like, like, I don't know, just trying to say an example. Maybe your okay, just a stupid quick example. Maybe your wheelbender skills won't be blue flame, but maybe red flames or like green flames or whatever, or just pure white or whatever. I don't know.
Oh
Or
yeah, I would take green
or
Wonder Flames for sure.
or just like a legendary item that just doesn't change your spell effect, but just changes the color theme on it. I would actually love those, honestly. You know why? So I will
Green.
so I will play anything else than Necro.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, just I'm sorry, I don't want to derail the topic too much, in a sense, but when we were talking about the meta events and stuff and like difficulty in the game, I actually wanted to mention one thing that I completely forgot at that part, but uh, I I actually feel like there is a nice little I'm not sure what the word, that the EoD maps in meta event wise feel really nice, that the first maps as you go on to Dragon's End are kind of increasing a little bit in difficulty and like different mechanics. So it's not like, it just, oh, easy meta, and then suddenly, you can do it. But well, first it was kind of like that.
And then Nike again always talks about. I see other people talk about it too. I've never done the one in what is it, Echoveld Wilds.
Yep.
I don't even remember what the second map. Oh, Kining,
Oh, kind of,
yeah.
yeah.
I've never done that one either. I've only done Setung Province once for the turtle, and I've done Dragon's End like 70 times just because I like doing it. But Nike says the one in Echoveld Wilds, it has this giant one shot,
Yeah.
and it just fucking like people go there to AFK and it just one shots everybody down,
Yeah.
and it happens all the time.
Yeah, because it just keeps doing it because it has 4 phases, and it starts doing, so the first phase is very easy because it just does this Anka style sucking mechanic into a specific spot, which you can die to as well if you get or stay in that AoE. And then the second phase adds like the robot arms that you have to like CC to break for a while. And then the third phase adds this mechanic, which is the bot slams down its hand or hands. I don't know actually. It usually just creates two, but I only really see like one arm being slammed, so I don't really know where's the other. But you can follow that, like where it hits down. There are usually like 3 or 4 spots for these, and then it creates like a or debris or whatever it's called, how you say it in English, and you have to hide right after it behind it, and you have like 3 or 4 seconds for it. And then I just don't understand, because I'm always with a heal scourge on this meta event for obvious reasons, and people keep dying and then come back and they die to this again, while the mechanic is always cycles. And I don't get it how people can understand that this happens like every like half a minute. And like these people in chat are like, oh, what the fuck was that? Like, dude, you died to that for the 7th time. What are you asking? How do you not understand that it is happening? Oh my god. And then you have Dragons and right after that with these type of people.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. I guess I just haven't had much interest in doing stuff like map completion and going and doing events. I think all the maps look really good and they're really fun to kind of run around in. Just this time around, I haven't cared so much because I think I've been way too interested in other things like the strike missions and Dragon's End. But now I've kind of, I guess all of that has worn off a little bit. And I feel like, I mean, I won't say that I've run out of things to do. It's just that I feel like, it's been a month. I've kind of done all the stuff that I'm interested in and want to do. And I've kind of, it's kind of fun. And then I'll do strike missions once a week with a guild. I'll do, just kind of stuff, whatever. And I'm a lot more relaxed about it now, which I think is also good because I don't need to just no life the game forever. I need to get back to doing other stuff in real
Yeah.
life. And so I think it's, the time that I've spent so far has been, very involved in doing stuff in the expansion. But now it seems that it's going to start to balance back out, which I think is good.
I think you just run out from the given, carrot on the stick style thing that the game just gives you right away when there's like an expansion or story or something.
Yeah, I think I agree. That sounds about right.
Because for me as well, I was like, so well, I'm actually not gonna say that I'm overwhelmed. I'm actually very glad that they kinda how to say, kind of like literally locked some of the achievements or collections behind specific achievements that you can get before it unlocks. So it's not like you just open the achievement panel, and there's like 10 billion achievements. Oh my god, and what do I start with? Because they are locked, and it's like, okay, do this meta event on the map, and then you will unlock like 3 more collections or like achievement, and it's like, oh cool, new stuff to do. And I kind of like that.
Yeah, and I guess there's some stuff about some of the collections that bug me a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, I was thinking about doing the Necro pistol, and I was looking through the collection for that, and I just don't want to play through the whole story again right now.
Oh yeah, the story things, yeah.
I don't know if it's the last instance or if it's the whole story, but I think it's the whole story. I do not want to do that.
Yeah,
And
that's a bit long.
yeah, that's gonna be probably at least another 8 to 10 hours. I just don't want to invest that for a weapon skin. But that, and then oh my gosh, what else was I gonna say? Ah,
You have time to think, don't worry.
yeah, it's just stuff kind of goes out of my head all of a sudden, and then it comes back 5 days later. I'm sure tonight, whenever I get ready to go to sleep, I'll just randomly remember it. Probably.
Yeah, that's the best. Like, I forgot to say,
Oh, okay. It was other goals. Like some people are working on legendary weapons and some of the longer term stuff that the expansion added. And I just personally, if I ever decide I want to get any of the new legendaries, I'll just probably buy them with gold. I just don't really want to do all the stuff to complete it, and since they're tradable, I don't have to. And stuff like fishing and the boats, I just don't like. That's it doesn't even remotely interest me. I just don't
Yeah,
even
I'm
care.
I'm same with fishing. It doesn't really move me much. Like it's cool and it's chill. It's not bad. It's I actually like the animations, like how, like the quality of the fishing in game. I think is really good. Like in terms of animation and the system of how it works and stuff. I think it's really good, but it just doesn't move me because I'm not into this fishing stuff in any game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's a really well implemented system. I think it's really fun for a lot of people, and I think it's added like yeah, like all these new collections and titles and things that are really cool. But it's just personally, it's not something that I'm like. For example, I'm not interested in cars that go slow. I like to drive 100 miles per hour everywhere, and so
What should guys be? We got a badass over here.
yeah, I know, right? But yeah, it's just I mean different things for different people. I think it's okay.
By there was one thing I actually wanted to ask you regarding the meta. Uh, yeah, I mean we kind of brought it up a little bit very early on the stream, but how do you feel or felt about this whole, Dragons End kind of whole drama thing that was like, like this is too hard and stuff because like I said, we kind of brought it up for like 5 minutes, and but then we right away moved on it. Honestly,
Yeah, I think a lot of it was really over exaggerated, and I think people were so angry that it just kept on growing and growing. And so eventually, you just literally, that streamer told Teapot to kill himself.
oh yeah, that's I
You
seen it.
had stuff like that, and it's like, seriously, like, are we really gonna go there? You have people doing extreme stuff like what Pang did, like making fake maps and stuff, and then there was so much drama and everything that went on with it for so long, and now I think people just don't really care anymore because they said that they fixed bugs in it, but really what they were doing is they were nerfing it. I
Yeah,
don't think
obviously.
I really don't think anything was actually bugged about it. I don't think the changes they made were bad. I think they made changes in the correct way, but essentially what they did is they nerfed it like 7 times in a row,
Yeah,
basically. And I don't really care one way or the other. I enjoy doing it,
yeah, same.
and if I want to do it, I'll just go do it. I don't really do content for gold rewards or stuff like that in Guild Wars 2. I just do content because I enjoy doing it. Like I'll do strike missions for 3 hours straight just because I enjoy
Same.
doing strike
There is
missions.
there's like no rewards, not even experience or anything, but it's just so fun to do them. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And so I just do stuff because I like it.
I
I
don't know.
randomly have like 850 gold right now, and I don't know how. I just haven't spent any gold for a while, I guess, because there just hasn't been anything that I've really wanted to spend gold on. But usually I have like no gold because all I ever do is stuff that's not profitable to do. I don't ever farm. I just kind of do the content that I like, and usually you don't make any gold from that.
Mm.
But yeah, overall, I think the drama was just kind of crazy. I'm glad that it seems to be over. There are people that got involved in it that I don't really want to talk about and give them any
Yeah, of
credit or
course.
name them. But there were some individuals that were very very problematic, and all they ever want to do is make drama, and
Yeah.
that made everything worse. And so it just is what it is. I think everybody's settled down though. I think people are just back to enjoying the expansion and doing new stuff. So I think that's fine.
Honestly, it's kind of weird because it's like not the attitude of people, but in the game, just as you said too, that for basically the full core game, you actually don't even need, you don't even really have to use your brain. Like it's so easy, and honestly, a lot of times I still say or used to say that, oh, there should be like a training thing in the, you know, like early zones in, like, you know, Queensdale or whatever. But then do someone did ask me like why, and I'm like, well, to know, you know, the CC and break bar, and then it hit me as they said that, yeah, but they don't have skills yet to use for break bar, not even weapon skills or anything, you know, and some professions don't even have any CC on their early weapons if they don't go for like a specific weapon. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of really hard to fix, honestly.
Yeah, that's actually something that I've never thought of that. That's a really good point though. How would you have a break bar tutorial if you can't break anything?
Because even think about like just teaching you combo fields. Okay, what can a necro blast on? What?
There are you can do corrosive poison cloud with the boner minions and you can blow those up, but that's
Yeah,
basically
that,
it.
that's a little bit complicated a little bit. But yeah, like leaf finisher on a necro, for example, like you can't even show this because they actually don't have, unless you are like a reaper or something or whatever else, you know, or like a, you know, harbinger. But those are elite specs. So honestly, I don't know how could, like, I I literally think that the only way this could be fixed, that people like actually get used to booms, to actually feel that yes, booms actually matter in the game, and what traits, what weapons or what build you, so like, ah, I don't know, like, it's,
Yeah, there are definitely problems and complications with it, and there you have to find a solution to a problem that is very difficult and also just may not even like the solutions may not even work. If you I don't know, I don't really know how to do it. There's the dodge tutorial where you can obviously dodge and you can go get that little chest thing, but
yeah.
that's just randomly in a corner of the map that you may not ever even see.
Yeah, but even there, it's like just an AOE. So you just, you know, like, oh, okay, I just dodged through, nice. And then it doesn't tell you that you can dodge out of like actual melee, you know, enemy mobs, melee hits, because it's not connected to you. You know, it doesn't explain much, and it's also really a little bit weird to say, but like all these weird tutorial like things, even in EoD, are basically just like weird band-aids to trying to fix these things so that people understand a couple of things. But eh,
Yeah, I agree. I think they're definitely more band-aid fixes than they are like actual solutions, but I think maybe it's better to have something like that than just nothing. I'm not really sure. Combo fields as a whole, like a lot of times they're problematic, I think, because you playing with a staff guardian like a heal brand, and that constantly cleanses with staff 3 and 2. But if you're playing necromancer, you want to transfer conditions off of yourself because it's more damage. But if you're constantly getting those cleanse, then that can be a problem.
yeah,
And there's just little things like that that are kind of issues. And then again, like all of the fields, whenever you're doing raids or strikes or whatever, all of those fields have all these fucking particle effects and everything.
Yeah,
So you can tell which field is what, but your own fields take priority to your own abilities. And so, like, why do you need to see all the other skills? Why do you need to see all this? I don't know. It's just kind of that whole thing is a mess. That's also one of the things too with the add-on. We're looking at just like flat out removing all of that stuff,
yeah.
which I don't know.
Not
It's probably doable, but
not to mention that even in like open world, if you are doing a world boss, everyone is just blasting and like using every single skill they can
yeah,
usually. So you it's not enough that you literally can't see anything, but there is like no point in strategically using them, because what's the point? It's just being like tank and spanked, because there is no use. It doesn't teach you anything at all.
yeah. It's this is. I mean, a lot of this stuff. I think that it's so far into the game now, and so many people are used to doing stuff one way. They've done it that way for 10 years, and like, they just expect to win, that they don't really care or they don't pay attention. They just have their little routine and they go and do
Yeah,
stuff. And so just, I don't know. They could have added these things a long time ago. They could have added tutorials in Heart of Thorns when they added in the break bars, and maybe that was the right time to do that. But we can't go back in time and do all that stuff. It's something that if they want to add that, they have to do it going forward, and they have to implement it in a really good way. And I just don't know. I don't know how to implement it personally. Maybe if I just sat down for like a day and thought about it, I could have some ideas. But just like off the top of my head right now, I have no clue.
yeah, it's really not easy because you have to think about so many possibilities and like two sides of it, kind of. Mm.
Yeah, and oh yeah, the Defiant stack in dungeons and kind of. I don't remember if open world stuff really had Defiant stacks. I don't remember that too well. But in dungeons, there are some things that do still have Defiant stacks and have unique buffs. Korga and a Raw Path 1, I think, may still have Defiant stacks, and it also has a unique stability buff to where it can only be. I think you can CC Korga with the like Scepter of War or whatever that item is that's right by it, the staff. But I don't remember. It's been a while since I've looked into that too. But their dungeons are still this kind of weird thing where it's the Wild West and some of it works, some of it doesn't. There are some things that have break bars that just die on their own, and it doesn't do anything to the boss. It just literally, the buff runs down, it doesn't ever get exposed or anything. I don't know, it's just weird. There are areas like that, I'm sure, in the open world. Like, there's probably stuff like that around. And if it doesn't work consistently, then it's the final boss in a raw can be perma knocked down in Sanctuary. I think you're talking about the Jotun in Path 1 at the end. How you can just perma knock that down. I'm pretty sure that's the one you're talking about. Yeah. But and then whenever they go to add, when they go to fix something or do something in dungeons, it just randomly breaks stuff in the rest of the game. So, I don't know. Who knows? Dungeons are something I've wished that they would fix for a long time, but I don't think they ever will or even can.
Yeah, it feels like it's truly abandoned. Just as it's kind of funny that they don't really say. I think one developer did say somewhere on like Reddit or somewhere that it is indeed not planned to be, for them to do anything with it anymore.
Yeah, that would make sense. And then LFGs, if you make an LFG for a dungeon, usually it will fill after a few minutes. If I make one for a raw, it usually will fill up. But it just, I don't know, just Dead
Yeah.
content. There's South Sun Cove, which I think is one of the coolest areas in the whole game, but people really only like. Maybe people still do Karka Queen. I'm not sure, but I think people probably only go there for guild missions. Really, maybe Karka Queen. I'm not sure, but I really like that zone. It's just really unoptimized. It's really laggy and all kinds of other stuff, which is a big problem too.
Yeah. It is kind of laggy, I don't know. It's weird. Oh well. We kind of went through everything.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Tilda Dalton, are you in Dozer Pals? If that's the case, if you do them all in an hour and a half, I would think that that might be the guild that you're in. Maybe. But I don't know. Maybe there are some other ones. And yeah, dungeons, as far as I understand it, the dungeon team got disbanded at launch. Oh, okay, the EU Guild. All right. But yeah, that's just I could talk about dungeons for a long time too, but ultimately it's not really worth it because yeah, it's dead content. Exactly. Yeah.
I actually never really played dungeons much. Like I tried out a few, and sometimes I just get this urge to like try to solo some of the bosses lately because of the new Alice packs and different stats because they were designed for like a very very old content, so it works very differently from now. So it's kind of like feeling like there is like some kind of power creep to it.
It should just power creep everything. Every CC ability should just instant break every break bar. You should just do it.
Easy.
Just play Dagger Pistol Thief everywhere in every game mode.
By the way, which elite spec do you like out of the EoD ones so far the most?
Harbinger definitely. That's
Oh.
really the only one that I play. I made a Mechanist to do like heal and alacrity, but I just don't care about it. The pet AI is so bad, and I watch other people that play Mechanist in some of the groups that I'm in, and randomly the mech is just running around doing things and stuff. And I just can't be bothered to
Do you
deal with
like it
something like that.
in Harvest Temple when people have golems and flesh golem and jade golem everything?
Oh yeah, and it hits the ball around.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, that's great.
It's also really nice when I keep telling people on the start if someone is new and then they say that they are new and I'm like, okay, look, I explain mechanics, but the most important is you see this giant orb, don't hit it if you don't know what you are doing. Just avoid it. Don't send minions on it. Don't AoE near it. Don't do anything to it. Just hit the mobs. And they are like, okay. And like 10 seconds in, all I see is just this Daredevil pistol just rapid firing it like for 20 seconds to the edge. The just wiping us 10 seconds into the Harvest Temple. It's really nice.
Yeah, that strike is very. It can go really smoothly if you're doing it with people that everyone really just kind of knows what they're doing. And if you have one person in, they can grief the entire thing. And it's kind of. I think it's still fun, and you can still recover from
Yeah,
it and
yeah,
whatever.
it's you can actually. Which is
The
surprising
other,
how easily you can recover even at the end.
yeah, and in the other strikes, if you have like four people alive, you can just do the whole strike. It takes longer, obviously,
Yeah,
but really the only issue is just having enough people to go in the green circles because I think it takes four players to do that. But everyone else can just die, and you can just finish it. And so it just and there's no. I'm really curious to see if the CMs have an enraged timer. I kind of think that they will because they're gonna give LIs, and they said they're gonna be raid difficulty. So I would think they would have
yeah.
an enraged timer.
It will
But
be DPS check.
yeah, that's gonna be Harvest Temple CM is gonna be crazy.
5000 LI.
Oh yeah, I go into groups that want KP like raid pugs, and I'll ping my legendary armor, or I'll ping like 2 stacks of LIs, and they still kick me because it's not specific boss KP. It's like, really, you want me to ping like 20 KC trophies when I have fucking 3 sets of legendary armor and then another like
Yeah.
1,000 LIs?
And you like literally
Seriously?
have to do them all the time to actually build them here, you know? I actually don't understand this thing.
But yeah, that's a. I don't know. That's a. Oh, the new currency is ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see
Ping me
that.
your ass. Okay, wait, hold on. How do I do? Where do I send the DM? You know?
Yeah.
I should get back to raiding again. I, oh man, I really want to finish my first legendary armor set, but I have 3 pieces left. I basically need nothing else, just Li. I have everything else ready for it. I just need Li to put them into the Mystic Forge and just get the pieces. And it's
Oh,
so
okay.
frustrating and I just can't get because my friends stopped playing raids that we did on the weekends because everyone had like very different times that when they were free on those days, so it just didn't really work out in the end because we like started with like 8 people, and then at the end we were like 3 or 4, so it was just meh, and I just can't find any more friendly groups for that anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I've been in a lot of raid groups over the years, and eventually just like one person quits playing, and then one person quits playing, then one person quits playing, and you get down to like 5 or 6 people, 3 or 4 people, and then they just give up.
Yeah, I actually like raids, honestly. It's fun to me. At least the first 4 wings was really fun to play all the time. I actually really enjoy them.
Those are really the only ones that I like. I don't like any of the Path of Fire raids.
I like Doom
It's
though. I tried Doom, but only Doom, nothing else,
yeah.
because I was just broke to Doom. And I was really like when I was previously watching like like people doing Doom, and I'm like, holy shit, how can you track all this bullshit that happening on there? And when I was there, I don't think we did CMs. Yeah, no, we did not. But when I was there, it was like, this is actually not that bad. And it was, I don't know, surprising because I think many people look at raids and then just be like, yeah, no, thanks. But it's actually fun.
Yeah, the I think Doom is pretty fun. Soulless Horror is okay, but I hate the River of Souls. I hate all the statues. I just don't like those. And then the other one, 6 and 7, I guess. I just don't like the environments. It's not visually or aesthetically pleasing. I don't like any of the bosses. It's just the voice acting is kind of annoying and really kind of too dramatic. I just really don't like it. I don't like the gin or any of that stuff, so I don't ever do them. I've done all the CMs and I have, I think, all of the achievements and titles for them, but I haven't done them in so long that I really don't even remember how any of them work. Every time I go in, I feel like somebody's doing a different strategy for one particular thing. I just don't know how it works, and I just don't like. I just can't be bothered.
Mm.
I don't know. This is kind of me.
Oh, uh, okay. Should we wrap up the stream? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we've talked about like literally everything in the whole game.
yeah. I can't really think about anything else anymore either. And well, I don't really want to hold you up either because you are like what, 1 p.m. or
Yeah,
something.
1 p.m.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want to go take stuff on the car apart.
yeah. So I don't really wanna hold back people. and it was 3 hours anyway, so that's pretty nice. So yeah, okay, well, let's just end it in a way. Um, Thanks for coming to the stream and podcast. It was nice talking with you actually. This is the first time actually when we were talking, by the way, chat. So it was,
Yeah, we've like typed in Discord and in
yeah,
game and stuff before, but yeah, we've never had like a, I guess, a proper conversation.
yeah, it's kind of it's kind of the same as like me and Makalak, because we actually never talked in voice ever. Like heard me, like just like you, on, due to the podcast, and that's it, but we never talked. We just
Yeah,
chat on Discord, and that's it. Oh well, the time comes as well. Well, anyway, you guys can find Preston on, Twitter, Twitch, and Twitter, and you have Instagram as well, I think, or something. I
yeah.
can't remember. You can just
I have
tell.
I
Just
have
go on.
Instagram. It's the same thing. Everything is UWV underscore Preston except YouTube. YouTube is just UWV Preston with no underscore because it wouldn't let me put an underscore in the URL for some reason. And then I have a website that's underworldvideo.com where you can see some of my, I guess, it's more portfolio work and it describes some of the long term projects that I'm working on. Instagram, Twitter, especially. Like I just shit talk on Twitter all day long, but and yeah, Instagram. I haven't posted anything on Instagram in a while because the weather in Texas has been terrible, so I just haven't been outside to take pictures. But that's about to change because the weather's nicer. The Corvette's about to come out of the garage and all the fun stuff. So
Ah, oh well. Well, yeah, I'm actually not that good with like stream endings, because I'm just awkward like here, like, okay, what else should I say? What
well,
is
this is what you say. You have to say, "Well, everyone, thanks for watching," and before this gets too awkward, have a nice day, and then you just end the
Oh
stream.
yeah, just quickly. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Honestly, it's that it. So thanks everyone for watching. This was a very pleasant conversation, honestly, and I enjoyed it as well. So thanks everyone for coming. You too, Preston, which is weird to say because I'm used to the good old name, but yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming, and see you sometime next time with anyone, with like, I don't know, maybe within a year. I don't know. I can't really stream, sorry guys. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, anyway, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna press the button now. See you guys. Thanks for watching.